Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, boys and girls. Do you feel it? Can you feel the excitement in the air? Can you feel the change in the air? Do you feel the wind? Do you feel the wind? The wind is blowing. There is a wind. There is a wind of change, y'all. And it's blowing all across this nation. I have in my hand, for those of you who don't know, this is the national flag of Barbados. And you are watching the Marcia Week show. And we are saying there is a wind of change that is coming over this country. And you just heard the national anthem of Barbados. Welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. It's a beautiful day. We are here. We are live. We are in the land of the living. We are alive and well. Anybody out there alive and well? If you are alive and well, give me a thumbs up. You're not in the hospital. And we don't want to go to QEH, right? Nobody wants to go to QEH. But we are alive and well, I tell you. And we are kicking. And tonight, folks, we have a fantastic show lined up for you tonight. It's going to be full of education, right? Because what we do on the Marcia Week show, we educate, we motivate, we mobilize, and we agitate. And today I had an amazing day. I'm hoping I'll be able to show you some of what I experienced today. Today we were able to buy 6 packs of Pampers, 100 Pampers in each box for that young lady in St. George South that we met there, and who is beautiful young boy, but they're homeless, mother and daughter, mother and son homeless. And because of your help, the appeal we made on the show, we were able to do that. And two persons or three persons from the loyal opposition came and, transported me there, took me around today. And I just want to thank every single one of them. I don't necessarily want to call their names, those who helped to transport the stuff to the people, get me to where we need to buy everything. And there's a family also, there's a lady who had come on, and she said that the government had kept moving her from place to place, and she didn't have her clothes. Remember that? And so we got a lot of clothes to her today, and the sizes that she wants, and some other, nice things to her to let her feel nice, and so on. And we went by her today, and on behalf of you Barbadians, the loyal opposition, in true Bajan spirit, we went and we shared those things with her today. And so I am so excited. I am happy, and I couldn't wait to tell you all that that was done today. And thank you to those that helped to make sure that happened, who stayed with me the entire time. So now let me just welcome everybody. CG, good night. CG, you feel a change? You feel something happening? I'm a big girl. How are you doing? Yes, there's another murder or sacrifice today. Yes. Yes, there's another one today. I'm telling you, we've got to move ourselves away from this thing. We have got to move ourselves away from it, Judy Jilks. We can't sign another covenant. Yeah. Bajan boy, good evening. We can't do that covenant business at all. We can't do that at all. Yes. Yeah, we got to be ready to move. Yes, we have to be ready to move. Angela, Cedric, good evening. Good evening, Shirley. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Angela Burke, Mavis Lashley, good evening. Diana Husbands, good evening. Lori Bob. We chatted today, Lori Bob. And Lori Bob, well, let me not say that together so everybody knows. We'll deal with our business. Chantel Williams, good evening. Marva Hunt, good evening. Lucinda Allen, good evening. Judy Jills, you've done the right thing. You liked and you shared. Sylvia Rock, good evening. Marva, good evening. Jacqueline, good evening. Beverly Prescott, good evening. Okay, so you are banned and you are deleted. Okay, we don't curse over here. All right. Michael Jilks, good evening. Wendy, good evening. Carol, good evening. Joy and Roberts, good evening. Beverly, hey, Dalton, Joycelyn, Cameron. Good evening. Oh, thank you, Shirley. Thank you. Colert, Victorious. You Shepherd. I'm a big girl still in birthday mode. You're right, girl. Bonnie Springer, good night. Carol, we are all a godsend. I mean, you should have seen how we did this all together today. We got the Pampers together today. We got met up with Mr. John, and she was part of it as well, Mr. John in St. George South, because we teamed up with her. I was on the trail with her in St. George South just to record what she was doing, and that's when I met the family. So we have to mention Miss Felicia DeJohn, who I mean, she does the work. And so she was able to take us to the family. They weren't home, but she sent me a lovely picture. I can't wait to be able to show you that picture tonight. Actually, you know what? Let me just I'm too fussy. So let me just show you that picture really quick. of the Pampers and the little baby. This family is fine because I did tell Mr. John that we didn't want to get a picture of the mother, but they have decided to do a picture of the baby. And so I needed to see the baby. Oh God, that baby is so cute. That's what drew me over to the house, really. But we're all God sent, okay? You know, we're all sent by God. It's not just me. There's nothing that is so different to me than you, Carol, or anybody else on this call. All of us matter, and that's why when we can go out and we can make a change. I can sit here and I can do my part, but when February 11th comes, you have to go out there and you have to make the change. You see, so it is all of us working together. Yes, thank you, Dave. You're the best. Okay, so that's it. All right, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there, but there's 6. So one is somewhere, but 6 pack of Huggies for the little baby boy there. Look at him; he's smiling. I think. Look at his face. Look at his face. Look at his face. And so all of you were able to yes, all of you made that possible. All of you made that possible. And this beautiful, wonderful young boy, we're believing God that they will have a lovely place to live. And she's saving, she's working, and she's saving. She was the one who was at the Safri's homeless shelter and believed, you know, in her mind, she, you know, her story is that she was, you know, emotionally abused there and eventually had to leave, right? So yeah, so we want to thank God for that. And and you know, it's you that's doing the good, Judy. I want, because I mean, yes, Dave and I, we always put money towards it, but you guys we spent today, the money that we collected was 500, and we spent $455 for the Pampers, and we've got that in video because you know I video everything, but we didn't get a chance to show it, okay, as yet, but I just still wanted to show you this cute little picture. And folks, we're warming up tonight is going to be an amazing night. Yes, thank you, Dave. How many of you enjoyed, well, not enjoyed, were inspired by last night's show? How many of you were inspired by last night's show? Yes. Yeah. Aretha says there's no magic formula. It's in your hands, Barbadians. Your time is February 11th. Yes, when you will help to take your country back by voting out this demonic, what I would say, not leadership. Okay, demonic structure that's over the leader. Okay, I don't want to call the leader demonic, but demonic leadership. Okay, structure of leadership. Okay, and get out and vote. Get out and vote. Okay, very, very important. Very, very important. And so the shows doesn't need to be you know, it's not that the shows are just so, you know, they're wonderful. It's what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What was the best part of last night's show? What did you take away from last night's show? Let me put the baby back up there while you think about that. Let me see what you're going to put in the comment section. Okay, somebody said it, John Rowett section. Yeah. Somebody said the show was revealing and the content hot. It was fabulous. What part of it? Last night was great, really enjoyed. So, okay, you take action to protect the children of this nation. Thank you. That's the kind of thing that I want to see. Take action to protect the children of this nation, because we spoke to you about the Samoa Agreement and the different clauses that are there that Barbados chose not to opt out of. They could have opted out of it using a particular clause, and they, they decided not to. So right now, we are sitting ducks, and they're open. Barbados basically, in signing every part of that Samoa Agreement, Barbados is saying that they're open to teaching gender identity in school, gender confusion, gender fluidity, to teach all these, the comprehensive sexuality education. That's what they are planning to do. And I'm telling you, as soon as they are elected, and you give them the mandate for another 4 or 5 years, all that's going to happen is that they are going to once again go back into the schools, and they're going to continue their mandate. Right now, it's still quietly being done, It's still quietly being done. They're going to go right back to that. So we have to protect the nation's children. Mr. Rohit was very frank. Okay, to vote country and not party. The info from Mr. Rohit's video. Yes, that video was was very, very good. You enjoyed last night's show? The entire show? The Samoa Agreement, the children are the future. Vote with the children in mind, guys. Vote with the children in mind. Yes. Yes, yes. Protecting the young children. When you go to vote, you vote with the children in mind. Vote with the children of Barbados in mind. They have violated the rights of the children over and over. They're the ones that brought the IDB tests. They're the ones that had all of that stuff in the curriculum that we found. We did so much of that on the show, and we're going to remind you about that, right? Mr. Rohit, the video with Mr. Rohit. Wow. Mr. Rohit, take a bow. The future is at stake, but on February 11, it is in our hands. Yes, she will bring all the bills that are going to come out after February 11th. After February 11th, if she's on a campaign stage and talking about me and all whatever, you can imagine what's going to happen after February 11th if she stays in power. What's going to happen? The cybercrime bill is coming out. They're sitting there and waiting with that, right? People like me imprisoned, or I will have to pay $100,000 that I don't have. Yes. So all of these, they are waiting. They are waiting. Somebody said that you were so passionate last night that I wanted to go out and vote today. That's it. That's it. What about the covenant? Anything about the covenant? Yeah, she's going to enforce all of those laws. Will be enforced for them. Yeah. All of those laws will be enforced. And I didn't get to apologize for the two bad words, that were in there. Two expletives were there, but I think that everybody understood. We didn't have time to edit out anything. Normally we do that. And I still want to apologize to my viewers, because I know a lot of you don't use those words. I don't as well. But the material was so important. And I know that, as he said, he's trying to stop cursing. So we kind of meet him where he's at. And but I still needed to have taken out the curse words. And I just want to apologize to you for that. Yes, all part of the 2030 plan. Yes, that's what it is. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Good. All right. Well, we have a video here to show you tonight. And if you're home and you can take notes of this, it's only 9 minutes long. And I want you to watch this video here tonight. It is from Calvary Temple Community Church. Okay, Calvary. Somebody just sent me today, just before my prayer time, and I felt in my heart that I'm supposed to share it with you. All right. So these days, I'm just flowing. Whatever, I'm just flowing. So let's watch it tonight. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
Seats are indicative of positions. Seats are indicative of positions. You hear somebody say, that is my seat. You cannot sit there. That seat is reserved for so and so. Seats are indicative of positions. Biblically, seats are thrones. I'm helping you out a little bit to connect some important dots for where we're going in the next few moments. When you think of the Mount of Transfiguration, and that's another message for another time. But if you're familiar with the story on the Mount of Transfiguration, and Jesus is speaking to these whom he has to his left and to his right, and they're talking about providing for themselves and setting up kingdoms and thrones and all this kind of thing. You understand, seats are thrones biblically, places of entitlement. Seats offer security and they offer comfort. Hear me today, child of God. Some things never change. Seats still bespeak the above. They still speak of entitlement. They still speak of security. They still speak of comfort, whether they be in Palestine or in Parliament. Now you know where I'm going. And I want to tell us, Calvary Temple and a watching world, Jesus overthrew and evicted those who were profiting on the backs of poor people. Jesus put them out at the end of a long braided whip. Places of power and positions of prestige went tumbling that fateful day. It was the unjust selling of doves then, and today it appears to be the unjust selling of property. Yes, someone once said to me, Pastor, these hills and fields beyond recall will no longer be called our own. I want to tell you all something today. I'm not a prophet or the son of a prophet, but there are seats in this country that need overthrowing. You heard me say what I just said. There are seats in this country that need overthrowing. I didn't say all the seats, but there are seats that need overthrowing. Power tends to corrupt. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. There are seats in this country that need to be overthrown. In 1887, British historian Lord Acton, Acton, noted that individuals with total control, such as directors or tyrants, always abuse their positioning to prioritize self-interest over common good. Some seats in this fair land need to be overturned. Now, I have not told you what to do on the 11th of this month. Neither am I proposing to tell you what to do or what not to do or where to do it or even how to do it. That is between you and your Lord. But I am saying, this is what I have received of the Lord. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I pray that Barbadians wake up and smell the coffee. I was going to say roses, but I think it's too late for the roses now. I want to say to us today, this is not a political message. This is very biblical, very scriptural. The same Jesus, somebody say the same Jesus, who dealt with the money changers then in his father's house, will deal with the money changers this month in this fair land. This island needs Jesus Christ. And I want to go beyond what perhaps you hear every blessed night now wherever you go about Barbados. I want to go beyond that because they're not going to tell you what God has given me to say to us as a people. It needs theocratic reign and governance. This country needs theocratic reign and governance. In other words, we need to get back to God and find out what has the Lord said, and based on that and that alone, then we carry out our business. But we don't understand that. We've lost that capacity. People are not interested in God. They want the rule of a man or a woman. Don't tell me nothing about God. We have to go beyond an X on a piece of paper. It has to start with hands and hearts that are raised to God and against the enemy of our souls, our sons, and our soil. In Jesus' mighty name, I say amen. My name is Andre Simmons, and I endorse this message. How else do you explain the uncanny deaths out of the blue? The frequency. You know, at one point, it was every 3 days, somebody dead in an accident, a natural death. And that is not including the homicides, by the way. I'm talking about vehicular accidents. 1 in every 3 days at one point. I think that was around the 22nd of last month. How are you explaining this away? I have an explanation for you. There are seats that need to be overturned. I don't have time to go deeper, but I would love to go deeper with you one-on-one. People think that is just what meets the eye. We don't yet understand everything is first spiritual. Everything is first spiritual. And until you deal with what is happening in the spirit realm, with territorial spirits that are real, you will never be able to see what you desire to see with the naked eye in your fair land or for your posterity and the generation that you have and the ones that is to come. It is first spiritual, people. So this is why I lift my hands. Because there is a devil that needs to be rebuked. And I cannot rebuke him. So this is where I say, the Lord rebuke you. That's my whip. The word of God. And I braid it every morning, noon, and night. We need to pray, folk. And this prayer and fast that we're stepping into as of 6 o'clock this evening is no coincidence. In the joke, in the accidents or happenstance, God has divinely orchestrated it as we approach the 11th of this month. Funny thing about it is that I'm not saying anything the last few moments that you all weren't thinking, but it's just that you all didn't want to say it. Nobody wants to say it. Everybody's frightened. But I have said it because I have no fear except for God. And that is an awesome respect, okay? That is the fear and awesome respect for God. We got to get past this being afraid of men and women. Amen, Buffy. You got to get past that nonsense. I mean, is she holding my paycheck? No, God is holding your paycheck. Hey. Seats are indicative of positions. Seats are indicative of positions. You hear somebody say, that is my seat. You cannot sit there. That seat is reserved for so and so. Seats are indicative of positions. Biblically, seats are thrones.
What time is this bus supposed to come?
I don't know, man. It's always late. Wait!
Seats are moving. Seats are moving. One day I'll pay. Seats are moving. Seats are moving. Seats are moving. With the code, determination in mode. Young them rise up. We carrying the load. Future in we hands. Barbados we see. Seats and moving. Jump on the DLP. Seats and moving. There we push the bus. One day LLP. Moving on with us.
All right. Well, we couldn't miss that opportunity to just play it a little bit from the young Dems. But you know how it is, our stance on the show. However the seats move, the seats need to move. Okay. However the seats move, they need to move. But somebody's saying, what a word. What a word. Right? What a word that was. And I heard it and I said, you know what? I've got to play it. I have to play it. I have to play it. Somebody says, excellent word. Preach, brother, preach. Good. Yeah. So we're a lot was said. A lot was said there. And we want to thank God that we have pastors who are bold enough to say these kinds of things, right? Yes. Well, we have with us a young man, and he is Jamal Sandiford. And some of you would have seen him at the candidates, introduction of the candidates on last week, Thursday. Oh my goodness, it's so long ago. Last week, Thursday, and he went up with such bravado. I was so impressed with him. He's probably the youngest one he will tell me whether he's the youngest one in the youngest candidates of the DLP. And he's asked me to come on. And as I've said to all of the candidates, wherever you're from, you can ask and you can come on and, in this week leading up, and you can have an interview. And so he's asked me to come on, and we're very, very happy to have him. He has a song, and I love that song. I love the song. And while Dave, let me just bring him on while Dave puts the song up. Good night, Jamal. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Thank you, Marcia. Happy to be here.
Yes. Really happy to have you. Now you're the candidate for which constituency? It's right.
So I'm Michael North East, the one that is currently ran by the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Motley.
Wow, you are a David.
Well, some people are calling me that. Yeah, some people are calling me that. But it's something that needs to be done, and so I'm here. Even though I'm only 26, and yes, I am the youngest candidate for the Democratic Labour Party, it is something that needs to be done. And like you say, that if anybody's going to do it, I'm going to be the one to do it.
And the youngest of the lot, the youngest of all the 30 candidates, you are taking on St. Michael Northeast.
Yes, please. And the reason is because they need some strong representation.
Yes. And we're going to play your song, and then you're going to tell me about first of all why you decided to get into politics, and then tell me about the constituency. Okay, but let's play your song first. Go right
All
ahead,
right.
dear.
Jamal Sandy Ford. When much Jamal Sandy Ford. Hey, jump it. Hey, Jamal Sandy Ford. Small youth from the rock. Sling in a hand, no crown pan him head, but he firm when he stand. Who on me trembling, nobody want try. But Jamal Sandy Ford. Step forward and look Goliath in the eye. Take down the giant, take down the giant, take down the giant Sandy Ford. Little Jamal with your big heart, gone down on the front line with the slingshot ready to start. He looking and looking, but he can't see where the giant gone. It's a mystery, she gone MIA. Missing in action, ain't even show up for the fight. Sandy Ford gone through all the gaps, and the giant was nowhere inside. Wallace up playing overhead. The giant flying way somewhere again. Sandy gone long and take the giant crown and bring home the victory for the days, yeah. Jamal Sandy Ford, whoa. Jamal Sandy Ford, whoa. Jamal Sandy Ford, whoa. Jamal Sandy Ford, Jamal Sandy Ford. From Bushall straight up to Green Hill, Bracelets to Jackson, we know the real. Jackman's Bibby's lane voices being strong. Burns Village say Sandy carry on. Layers and the rails, them tired of wait. Whole constituency don't reach the gate. Jamal from the yard sling and stone in the hand. Jamal Sandy for rice for the people and Bushall, Green Hill, Bracelets, whole place ready. Bushall, Burns Village, Leas, Darrell, take down the joint steady. Evil representation, hear the call. Jamal Sandy for stand tall for ya. People laugh and say you're too young for war, but Jamal hear that talk before. Small don't mean weak, you don't mean blind. When purpose and people linking tight. IES for Sandy Ford. Youth empowerment, elderly care, safe for Barbados with Jamal Sandy Ford. Jamal Sandy Ford. Jamal Sandy Ford.
Wow, this is I'm telling you. I mean, I think the DLP has like the best songs. You know,
Well, I
and
want to
you
give credit.
guys have a variety of songs, but this is simply, honestly, one of
I
my
want to give credit
favorites.
to Ariel Rock for that. Ariel Rock is the person who created this song, so you'll give her my full
Ariel Rock?
support. Yes, Ariel Rock. I wish it doesn't way you put on it there like that. But yes, Ariel
Ariel.
Rock is the person. Yeah, Ariel Rock is the
No,
person who designed that song.
this song is a big tune.
Yes, a very big tune. It's going to be playing on a lot of stages pretty soon too.
Repeat, please.
It's going to be playing on a lot of stages pretty soon as well.
Wow, no, man. It would be so good if you could perform this.
That's going to be arranged.
No, man. This is really, I love it, and it suits you. And
I appreciate that.
really, and so you came up with the lyrics, or Ariel did the lyrics?
No, she knows me personally, and she came up with the lyrics as well.
Ah, I know who Ariel is. Haha.
Yeah, she's one of the young Democrats as well.
Yes. Oh my Lord, this is really good. I really love it. I really love it. So tell me, Jamal, why did you decide that you want to be in politics?
I'll be upfront with you on this. About 8 years back, you wouldn't call me anywhere near it. But my line of work slowly gravitated me towards politics. And I was doing media creation for the previous candidate back in 2022. And that is when I learned how hard some of the people inside the constituency really have it. And it was then I thought, you know what? I mean, she's the prime minister, yes, but a lot more could be done for some of these people. And
So
that is
let's
why.
pause there. So you were doing working with a particular candidate last election.
No,
Which candidate
yeah,
was that? Which
that
candidate?
was 2022. That was Damien Griffith.
Damien Griffith.
Yeah.
Oh, and another young person.
Yes, pretty young. Well, I'm a lot younger, but she's pretty young.
And so while you were campaigning and with them and walking through the constituency,
Yeah.
you were moved.
Yeah, a lot of people were in a very sad state. And the hurtful part is that this is 2022 I'm talking about. But if you look back at the same areas, you will see that virtually things have changed, yes, but they've gotten worse. I'm still seeing people living in houses where the windows are broken. I'm still seeing people living, I don't want to, I'm not want to call their names, but I know people are living in containers and are pirating water and cannot afford electricity. So this is just two things I would highlight. I'm not going to even like talk about the roads, the gutters, the drains, when it floods, some areas flood, many rainfalls, some areas flood. But living conditions and circumstances are so hard that some people live in containers without insulation, without light, and they have to pirate water essentially. So it is
Talk to
just
me about that. So you're saying in St. Michael Northeast,
northeast. Yes,
right? This is the prime minister's constituency. You are seeing people who
currently.
there are people who are actually living just they're just living in the container. There's
Yeah.
no so well, how do you get back? Well, just the one open door there in the front of the container. Does it have
Correct.
windows?
No, nothing like that. And I wanted to come and capture content of it, but for obvious reasons, they declined and they refused for me to do it because of pride. But I'm currently working on getting them a place to stay. So if anyone within the comments is willing to donate something for them, I'm here. I will give you my contact information so that I could do something for this family. Because it's actually a
It's a
family of people
family.
and
How
it's
many
a
of them?
family.
How
It's
many?
about it's about two children, one male and one female, mother and father. So this is something that they're battling, and he's not wanting handouts because he does work, but the work is not enough to pull him out of the situation. So I can see that he's trying. So anybody that trying, I'm willing to give a very, very strong hand.
So what you're seeing a lot of, let's talk about the people. I love how you say, I'm not even going to talk about the roads and the drains. You want to talk about the people and the
Yes,
level of
please.
poverty. So you're seeing a very because it was a level of poverty that you saw in 2022.
Yes, he
That
lives in the areas where people were more in need. And that is what kind of like tug at my heart and pulled me into this field because I was running far from it. I could see some of the corruption from before. I know it's running far from it, but there's some things that you can't unsee. And once I saw them, I had to do something. I have to do something. And that is why I'm here. Right? So when I look at the people, a lot of people are actually very warm and welcoming to me. And some of them don't really even vote for change. They just vote for the ruling party because some of them are getting benefits. One of my biggest pet peeves is that there's an unevenness in distribution of representation. Some people get houses, others don't see anything. Some people
you
get
mean
roads,
in the same constituency, you're
same
saying?
constituency, just
Oh
different
wow.
areas. Just different areas. Like some areas are more catered for. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad that some of the roads and bush hogs were done. However, I'm hearing other people telling me in other areas that if you stay inside of bush hog too long, you will get Barbara Green thrown on you, and they don't get anything. So there's a uneven representation where they're concerned, and that is why I'm here. I'm here to improve the quality of life for every resident within the constituency. It doesn't matter if you're a B, D, if you vote, if you don't vote, if you live in an apartment, if you're a child, my aim is to improve the quality of life of every single resident within the constituency.
So Jamal, when you speak with the constituents,
Mhm.
what are they saying in terms of this unevenness in the representation? What are they suggesting might be the reason for it, or how they decide who gets the road and who gets the house?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not going to put anybody out there because I don't want to reveal my sources. But some people told me just as early as 2 days ago, I was canvassing in an area called Jackson, and someone told me that they're appointed 5 years now. Sorry, they've recently been appointed. They've been working 5 years now. They're in government, right?
Mhm.
And they're 33 years old. 33. And that was shocking because it was like, I thought at one year point, older people are senior citizens. right? But then I get to find out within that area, there's houses building in that area through government. There are people that have supervisory positions in government institutions. And I get to realize, hold on. So up here, like it pretty much taken care of, but other areas aren't. And that really started to tug at my heartstrings. I'm like, oh my word, I'm glad for you, but I'm sorry about the other people have to go through. And that's just something I'm noticing. Even earlier today, certain areas out in Coles Road people have been telling me that nothing doesn't happen for them if they don't come together as a people and trim some of the grass and try to clean some of the drains themselves so that the water don't settle as easy. If they don't pull together as a unit, things don't happen. They write letters. I've gone across the constituency in various areas, and there are trees that are going through the power lines. So it's like,
Mm,
if I don't do it, who's going to do it? It's a very serious thing. So I'm just being brutally honest here. That's why I advocate for very strong and even representation. When I say even, I mean like for every person. I don't
mm,
come and ask somebody where you vote before I help you.
mm,
So I'm thinking that some of that is part of the issue. People are having issues with their roofs. After this, previously we had some bad rain a couple
mhm.
months ago. And some people are really showing me the real issues that arise from that bad rain. I'm seeing roof starts. I took photographs of today to contact some contractors because these roofs are rusty. And when I say rusty, I mean you can see the holes in them. You can't even tell that that's galvanized anymore. It's like rust on top of some roofs. So then there are people that are complaining about there's no representation. Like you can call people and the government doesn't do it, so they have to pull their pocket, especially pensioners have to pull their pocket and organize things to happen around the place. One of the older ladies today, she told me that she was living in her area and where she is pretty isolated and had a lot of tall grass. And she was reading, and somebody entered her daughter's house, and she didn't even have a clue. It was only when her daughter's boyfriend came home that they realized that the door was open and that a TV was moved and that some windows were actually removed. And I was like, for real, all of this. So when you sit down, you look at the environment right behind their house is a gully. So much is going on, that they are not able to, she's pretty old and she was extremely scared. And who could blame her?
Yeah.
Who could blame her? You have to ask yourself, where is the representation? Well, I have to be the representation.
Yes. So, Jamal, when you speak with the residents, what are they asking for the prime minister? Are they asking her to do to do better for them, or they're well, she can't do any better? What are their expectations of the prime
I'll be
minister?
honest,
And are
and
those
I would
expectations
say,
met?
I
Huh?
won't give my opinion. I will tell you what they're saying to me. They're
Yes.
saying to me that they reach out to government. Some don't even see her, and then others see her pretty often. So you can see there's a bit of a disconnect between the way constituents see her. Who gets support from her sees her regularly. And I don't want to say their family or their friends or their acquaintances or their relatives, but some people do get support from her. And I commend that. But don't support the haves and not have nots. Or don't make some people haves and not have nots. So I'm saying that in other areas, people say they haven't seen her. People are saying that some rules haven't been fixed in over 30 years. She's been in this seat for over 30 years. So these are things that are really a concern. And I find that depending on where you go, the perspective is different,
Mm,
depending on where you go. If you go in Jackson, you're going to probably hear that I love Mia. And if you go into, I don't want to call some place, I don't want to get anybody scrutinized. But if you go in other areas, you're going to probably hear that some people don't even know what she looks like. They don't see her in the area. And some areas you can tell there's a lack of support because they don't even have posters in some of those areas. And that is why that was also part of the song. You look through the gaps and there was the Goliath was nowhere in sight. There's some areas that have no posters and people get no support. I'll go as far as to mention one area that people are really, really concerned with. It's called Butler's Avenue. If you come
Butler?
from Butler's, yes, like the person who normally tends to the house, the Butler's Avenue. If you come from the road from the stadium, where is no longer a stadium by the way, it's under construction. for the past couple of years, and you follow that road, there's going to be a turn off where people normally take this road because they want to escape traffic. So instead of going straight up to Botanical Gardens, to turn off the road, and there is a space that was once a road. It is pure marl. There are one or two chops where you can see
Mhm.
that there was once tar or barber green, and it's pure marl. And then you actually get onto that road. It's called
Mhm.
Butler's Avenue. First of all, the sign is shaky and swinging and barely holding on. Then there's the gap at the very beginning of the gap. You're going to see about, I think it's about three or four potholes that are dig out,
Yeah.
and you start to ask yourself, like, this is a road, but you know what? It hasn't been touched, serviced, probably even looked at from government in over, I think it's about to be over 30 years. I can't remember the
Mm.
exact figure, but it's definitely over 30 years. So it's almost like the forgotten road, a forgotten area. There's people down there that don't get tired. They still love her, but there's others that are more open to expressing their concerns with me, and quite frankly, they respect what I'm doing, but I tell them all the time there's very little I can do because I'm not in office. The most I can do is I can ask for a donation. The most I can do is I can write a letter for you. I can advocate on your behalf. I can probably even do a video to raise awareness. I can come and speak on your behalf. But the representation office is not representing. And so that is why I want the people of St. Michael Northeast to afford me the opportunity to represent you and build legacy where there's none.
Wow, very strong, and very articulate, young
Thank
man. I
you.
must commend you. As I always say, I have three sons, so I'm a little biased towards the young men. And the stigma that's attached to young men. You got your locks, and but very, very smart. But Jamal, tell me something. Do you have any projects that you're currently working on to help the people in St. Michael Northeast?
Most definitely. I'm
Tell me
looking at
about
a
that.
structure. I'm looking at a structure of people or a unit of people designed, tasked with repairing homes and housing because that's one of the bigger issues that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that a lot of seniors, especially, there are pensioners and some that didn't work the 33 and a third and can't afford a pension, but they still needed that financial assistance and they don't have a home. A lot of people have to rent, a lot of people have to squat and huddle in a home. And this is something that is pretty concerning. So I got phone calls from even younger people that telling me, listen, we need better. And not just for themselves, but they can't bear to see the way that some senior citizens are having to live. Think about it. As the seniors get older, they're not as strong as they once were. And there's not enough support for them. You know, yes, the government has some systems in place to help tackle them, but every senior citizen isn't being looked after. And why not? We have so many younger people are into the care of the elderly, especially if we look at skills training. So many people go there to learn how to nurse and how to care and support elderly people, but there's not enough infrastructure, there's not enough channels to get them from there at this early stage of development to to the areas where they are critically needed. So I'm looking at continuing to develop areas and structures that this could actually help the people who need it. I just spoke about the homes. There's so many palings that are broken down. There's so many houses that need roofing or could benefit from a roof repair. There's so many houses that have flooring issues. I don't want to go too deep into it. The point is that I'm going to be looking at setting up structures where we can start repairing homes so that people can have another sense of security. Because we notice that our seniors are very vulnerable. Just the
Mm-hmm.
other day, last year, we heard that one was raped. When her
Oh, was
grandson was
raped.
tied up. Yes, but when her grandson was made tied up and made to watch. So these are
Yes.
just some of the things. And when I heard the older lady today tell me about the fact that her daughter's house was broken into and she was there, but because the grass was so tall, she wasn't able to notice this. It shows us how much our older people are at risk. And now, get
Mm-hmm.
me wrong, I'm not neglecting my younger people or my people in my age who are younger in any way. But we
Yes.
really need to be mindful of the people who built this country. The people that, before them being involved, a lot of people would have been left by the wayside. A lot of people would have been uncatered to. We cannot forget our senior citizens. I have a granny. I love my granny. And so when I see any older lady, any older gentleman, I give them the utmost respect because I know the things my granny had to do. So you can only imagine people older and people within that born in that same time of the era. So that's just one of the areas I'm working for. I also want to make sure that there are programs in place for the youth because the unemployment rate is higher than they're letting on. I can tell you when I go around, there's too many young people on the streets who are unemployed. And what this shows me is that yes, they can call fancy numbers and they don't know where they're getting the numbers that they're calling on the media from. But the amount of people that I'm seeing that are unemployed is way, way too high. So I'm actually looking at putting structures in place to capture the younger audience. I find in younger audience, a lot of people want to be their own boss. Yes, some want a job, but a lot of them actually want to be able to say that I'm going to work, doing what I love to do, what I'm interested in doing. Because if you look at the construction side of things, a lot of younger people feel like this is not all I'm good for. I'm not just good enough to go and stir bricks and stir concrete and pull up mortar from 3 stories up. A lot of the younger people are interested in how do you make money from YouTube? How do you make money from content? Things that that
Mm,
they're into every single day, but there's no infrastructure for them. So what's going to happen is they feel like they can't fit in. They feel like, what, I go to school and I learn how to get CXCs and I go to apply for work and I'm hearing I don't have enough experience. Some of you learn that hey, you don't have enough qualifications, so you go to a tertiary level institution, and then you come back and hear, oh, you're overqualified now, and you also lack competence because you don't have experience. So where does that leave you? That leaves you now thinking, okay, I do not have any other options. Things tight, you want to ask mommy or something, your neighbor for something in here, but my pocket tight, I can only give you so much. Where is the person going to get this money from? What is the young person going to do? They're most likely going to head to crime because that's the fastest way to get money. If you have a gentleman who where everybody else say, go and find a job, go and find a job, he say, oh, come to me, man, sit down here on this block, man. Look, hold this for your arm for me now, right? And I can ask you to do something for me every now and then, and all this 2 grand. Will you expect that a lot of the younger people are going to be on the block?
mhm.
Because that is now a way of life. That is now a means to make a living. And I know in any way advocate for it, but the truth is the truth. So we need to have more structures in place for our young people. I can tell you the government has skills training as a structure in place to help young people. But you want to hear the truth? It
Mm.
cannot cater to all of them. Everybody doesn't have the affordability or the financial backing to go to a tertiary level institution, to go to Barbados Community College, to go to UWI. Everybody doesn't have that financial backing. So what are people to do? Some, yes, try to sell on the side of the road, but the cost of living is so high that when you got to put the price on a fruit, people walk away. So when you get enough people walking in, you start telling yourself, like, this literally ain't making money. This literally isn't making sense. So we need
Yeah.
to try to turn Barbados around. And I'm not saying that every instance is this way, but these are some of the things I'm coming across as I
Yes.
canvas daily.
Yeah, excellent, Jamal. I mean, we only have, about 3 minutes left, but Jamal,
Oh,
wow, time, but you are doing an amazing job, sounding very confident. I am so proud of you.
I
And
appreciate it.
Barbados, look at this. These are sons of the soil here. And we have to give the leadership of the Democratic Labour Party a hand. Come on, guys. They said that
100%.
they don't have it good people, they're not ready. Look at this young man. Look at this man, how articulate he is, working in the constituency. He's already started projects in the constituency. This is amazing, Jamal. Now, Jamal, there's something that I heard Mr. Thorne, Rod Thorne, he said that one of the things that they're proposing in their manifesto, and you can correct me, is that they want to institute like a local council, and that
Yes.
local, I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but the
Well, there's
idea,
something called a constituency council, which
Yes.
is a group of people from the constituencies who will be living in the constituency, understand the people and familiarize with the people in the constituency, in which we would have managed certain areas of the constituency. Because let's be honest and let's be fair. You
And
can't put all of the
hold a minute.
pressure.
So that is what is part of your manifesto.
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is a manifesto. For those of you who say, well, we don't know what they're going to do, they have gone into the constituencies, as Jamal so wonderfully articulated tonight, and they've seen the gaps, right? And so they've come up with a solution. And Jamal, tell the people the solution of the DLP to deal with some of these issues. Go right ahead.
Well, some of the issues that we're really looking at tackling is the cost of living, as I like to call it a money crisis, because the cost of living is something that you have to always deal with. But I think I'm really thinking that as we go around canvassing, there's actually a crisis of money. There's not enough money, or the money does not have enough spending power to cover you in the way in which you would like. And that is what we offer to advocate for dropping the VAT to 15% or bringing it back down to 15% to make things a lot more manageable for our citizens and our people that live here, our residents. Because the truth is this, you could raise the minimum wage as much as you like. It just means that the tax bracket is going to raise also. You know, that is just the system and the framework in which it is structured. However, if you reduce the level of which things cost to begin with, then you would have more spending power overall. And that is what we aim to accomplish. That is what we aim to achieve and what we are advocating for within our manifesto. We want to have Barbadians able to buy things that they normally wouldn't be able to afford to buy. And that is how we would increase or improve the way that we experience cost of living. You know, and that is what we aim to accomplish.
Yes, yes.
That's
And
just one of the
concerning the
things.
councils,
Constituency councils, yes.
yeah, constituency councils. Can you go into that a bit? I'm very excited about that.
But that is something that we have done before. It's not the first time we've done this. We had it in place. It worked very well. I'm going to be very honest with you. It was such a thing that they had accomplished things like help buses to run more efficiently throughout the constituencies. And just give you one example on this. Imagine having a bus route that a lot of people had to get off and walk a fair distance. The people in the constituency would go and voice their complaints or raise this matter with the constituency council. When they see this, they say, you know what? We're going to have a talk with the drivers, we're going to have a talk with the board, transport board, so on, and they would get the routes altered so that the constituency will now be more enfranchised to handle the situation. So that is what they're doing. They are actively on the ground. Their structures are actively on the ground and aware of the concerns and the issues within the constituency. And that is how they're going to operate. They're not just to say, okay, sit down and like a campaign office when there's somebody comes to you. They're actively putting things in place so that you can have a improved experience.
Wow, that's awesome. I am very, very, because I'm not in the constituencies like you are, but I go in with my camera and I'm saying, how do we solve this? You really do need that the constituency council. It's a very, very important thing to bridge that gap between the MP and the people, and to also work with some of the administration, calling here and so on, and to make it happen. Well, Jamal, this is awesome. And I do wish you, sir, all the very best. And Lord, the comments, you should go, when you come off, you should go back and read the comments.
Oh, okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah. And I want to say, stick with Mr. Thorne. I think he's doing a good job in raising up a lot of these young men. He's doing a lot, making you guys stronger and validating your gifts and talents as well.
Massive respect to my leader all the time. Massive respect.
I didn't hear you. Repeat what
I'm
you said.
saying massive respect to Mr. Comrade Leader all the time, Ralph Thorne. You know, he's pretty much a mentor to all of us newer candidates. He's given us his honest feedback, and he actually walked around with me within the constituency more than once, you know. It's just that we have one video. In fact, if you go on his profile on Facebook, you might be able to find the video of he's showing me the boundary lines of my
I saw it.
constituency. Yeah,
Yes.
and he actually showed me where he grew up and introduced me to some of his family and some of the residents within the area. So I have to respect our leader 100%. Anytime.
Yes. Well, all the very best. When is it? Where is your next? I think you have a meeting tomorrow night in Spikestown.
Yes, we do. And I also have a meeting planning for this Friday within, well, it's called a spot meeting. It's going to be this Friday, February 6th in Bush Hall, Allingsland. So 2nd Avenue, Allingsland. So you can come through and you can hear what I and some of the constituents that tell me they're willing to speak have to say about how they feel about government and how government has impacted their lives. Well, I don't want to say impact in a negative way, but how they have impacted their lives within the last 6 going 7 years.
Wow. So you're doing your spot meeting more of a discussion and a talk, a
Yes, I would like
talk.
people to be able to know that everything that I'm saying is not just me and that the constituents are feeding me this information. And some of them are bold enough to claim they're going to come and go on this platform and tell the truth. So
Wow.
I'm actually happy to hear that. I'm anticipating of that.
I love that
So
approach. You're not bringing in people necessarily to just be speakers, but you're hearing at your spot meeting, the people in your constituency, they're actually coming up and they're actually speaking. Well,
that
thank
is
you
the
so much.
intention.
I could talk to you the whole night, but
It's
thank you.
true.
And
Okay.
Tell Ariel that the song, man, the song is amazing. And I know
I
habits,
most
and
definitely
I will
will.
be playing it and dancing in my house.
All right.
All the best, okay?
All right. Thank you. You have a good night. Appreciate
Yes.
it.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
Jamal. God bless. Bye bye.
Hey, jump it. Hey, Jamal's and the fad, small youth from the rock. Sling in a hand, no crown pan him head, but he firm when he stand. Hold on me trembling, nobody want try. But Jamal's and the fad, step forward and look Goliath in the eye. Take down the giant, take down the giant, take down the giants and the fad. Little Jamal with your big heart, gone down on the front line with the slingshot ready to start. He looking and looking, but he can't see where the giant gone. It's a mystery, she gone MIA. Missing in action, ain't even show up for the fight. Sandyford gone through all the gaps and the giant was nowhere inside. Wallace up plane overhead, the giant flying way somewhere again. Sandy gone long and take the giant crown and bring home the victory for the days, yeah. Jamal's on the fat, oh. Jamal's on the fat,
All right, we get some downloaded.
Jamal's on the fat, oh. Jamal's on the fat, Jamal's on the fat. From Bushall straight up to Green Hill.
Jamal Sandiford. The young people are strong and they're taking over, man. That is really, really awesome. Really awesome. You know, I mean, can you imagine? Listen, this young man could have had a debate with the prime minister. He could have had a debate. We don't have debates in Barbados, which we need to have, you know. Yeah. But okay. So now tonight, again, guys, I have another, I think she's been on the show one time before, Carolyn Rock, and from St. Lucie. And she came on, and I'm telling you, she spoke about the brown water in St. Lucie, and especially when they were going to have their first campaign meeting was in St. Lucie, and she was on. And Carolyn Rock is here with us tonight, and she's going to talk to us about this covenant thing, right? So she's going to talk about the difference between a covenant and a manifesto. All right. So welcome to Miss Carolyn Rock. Welcome.
Good night, Marcia. Good night, loyal opposition. Thank you for this opportunity to have a voice and to share, my thoughts and concerns with the Barbadian public.
Well, you're most welcome. And those of you who, you know her nice smiling face here, but she is praying on a morning. So she's been praying now. Oh my goodness. I think it's about over a week every morning at 5 o'clock. And they are on bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I'm like her and Dolores. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm falling asleep. and they are ready to go every morning. So you can join her tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock, for prayer, right here on Africa Bridge. Go right ahead. I mean, someone shared this scripture with me, and let me just read the whole scripture just before just gather your thoughts there. And it's actually the person who shared the scripture with me is actually a tourist, and it says it's Revelation 8:4 says, "Come away from her, my people. Do not take part in her sins, or you will be punished with her." Revelation 18 verse 4 says, "Come away from her, my people. Do not take part in her sins, or you will be punished with her." Go right ahead.
Okay, Marcia, personally, I would say when I see the word covenant, I begin to wonder, how has a manifesto changed to a covenant? We have been used to manifestos in Barbados for, decades. We would hear of the BLP manifesto, the DLP manifesto, and you come to understand that, okay, this is like a guideline to what these people intend to do within a given time. But recently, and if I'm wrong, correct me, I think this is about the third time now.
It's the second time.
The second time, okay.
Yes,
The
they
second
had it
time.
in 2018, the Covenant of Hope. Yes.
Right, yes. That we're hearing about a covenant. And, and leading up to how I'm gonna show the differences between them, I have always wondered why there is a government that has a 30-0 mandate. No opposition. We only had opposition in the last maybe 2 years. But you have a full mandate of persons that they have given you. They go ahead to do, I don't want to say whatever you please, but really and truly that is what it is. But yet you find that instead of concentrating on the job ahead, you find that the government focuses on those people who are not in agreement, or those people who oppose. And those people who oppose, who are bold enough to oppose, are a small minority. And I was always curious as to why are they picking on this small minority of people and leaving in lots of instances the majority out there. And it is only when that I decide to do a comparison between manifesto and covenant, I came to the realization, oh, okay, so you want everyone to be in agreement. You are after total agreement. With this covenant, you cannot tolerate opposition. So it does not matter how small it is. It must be stamped out. It must be dealt with severely. Whatever you have to do, if you have to victimize, whatever you have to do, if you have to drive fear in them, if you have to treat them on, whatever you have to do, the intent is that 100% must be on board, or should be on board, for whatever this government or the government intends to do. And that is what made me went into, let me have a look to see why have the change been made from a manifesto to a covenant. And I did some research, and it opened my eyes a bit more. So I'm going to share what my thoughts with you of what I've discovered. Now, both a manifesto and a covenant outlines deep-seated beliefs, but differ greatly in purpose, structure, and binding nature. A manifesto is an open call, to action or change, whereas a covenant is a solemn relationship. It's a kind of building agreement. So when I hear solemn and I hear relationship and I hear agreement, then I begin to understand, okay, I understand why it has to be that everybody has to be on board, that there has to be total agreement. Now, manifesto, and let me break it down, the political use, it is a published document detailing the policies a party intend to implement if elected. So we move away from that. And it leads me to wonder. And a covenant, on the other hand, is a binding relationship. Yeah. In many faiths, a covenant is a sacred pact initiated by a higher authority, and in most cases it is God, that establishes the terms of a spiritual community.
Can you repeat that?
Covenant
Can you
gives
repeat
an
that?
idea of,
Can you repeat that? I think that I was writing.
this
taking
one
some
is
notes.
the theological meaning of the covenant. It's a binding relationship. First of all, we must understand it's a binding relationship.
Right. Yes.
In many faiths, a covenant is a sacred pact initiated by a higher authority, and usually initiated by God. You find that when we speak about covenants, we speak about things initiated by God or higher authority. I might say God Almighty, but for some people, the higher authority may be something else. Yeah, and that is real. And it establishes the terms of a spiritual community. That's a covenant. When I saw covenant, I said, well, I've been in 2 covenants as far as I can recall. When I got married, that's a covenant. And it says, until death us do part. And then I have made a covenant with God. And again, that's, Lord, your will be done in my life until death. So again, it is binding. It is binding. And when I saw this as as instead of a manifesto of a party in Barbados, there is a covenant. My spiritual senses began to tingle, and I began to wonder what is happening here. And so I want to just give the feature, some features of both a manifesto and a covenant, and leave you to understand that on February 11th, this is what, if you vote for the Barbados Labour Party, and I have not seen the DLP's whether it's manifesto or covenant, and I will hope they don't come with a covenant. When you vote, this is what you are seeing. And again, I would want us to use this information so to understand why we see bills like the cybercrime bill coming up. And we cannot understand why would you want to take my right from me? But if I sign a covenant with you, I come in, I said, this is what I'm willing to do. And therefore, my rights automatically are gone because I have signed on to a covenant. So people of Barbados, I want y'all to understand. I want us to understand when mark this X, and X is a can transform into a signature. Because if you can't write, you mark an X to say I agree. So understand what is happening here. So when you mark that X, you are locked into this thing for life. And we expect that a government in Barbados is for a 5-year period. But if someone is coming and saying, I am going to bring a covenant, there is no intent about a 5-year period. It is like, look, when you elect me, I'm in power for life. You don't have no other choice because you have given me the mandate. And that is why that 30-0 mandate has led us to this state. Now here goes the breakdown. The duration of a manifesto, and this is the political end of it. The duration of a manifesto is temporary for a specific period. I just spoke about that. And in Barbados, we have a 5-year period. So the government comes and party comes and said, these are the things that I want to do within this period. Again, you can go and judge this government to see if it has kept if it has kept the promise in the manifesto. No, if it is a covenant, it doesn't have to keep those promises. I just want you to know that, but we will get to that. Whereas a covenant is permanent or long-term. So note the difference, why it changed from a manifesto to covenant. In other words, Barbados, this is nothing short I'm bringing to you. This is long-term. It can be legally binding in international law. In other words, if I've gone and signed a treaty, the treaty continues for life. We're locked in. And we are seeing that the treaty and signing on to these different things, Lord knows what we have been signing to. We do not know, but there are some things we have been signed on to, and it is not for just a 5-year period. It is for life. Again, the legal status of a manifesto is non-binding in domestic courts. So if I don't carry out what I say in a manifesto, not a problem. But the covenant can be legally binding, as I said, or I think I spoke this one, in international law and treaties. Now, the covenant audience that the manifesto caters to are the voters, whereas the covenant is between a people or community of nations. Listen to this one. A people, or it could be a community of nations. So in other words, we can be signing on to things of the United Nations. Yeah, and not just, this is a Barbadian thing. The manifesto is for the voters, so it will be the Barbadian people, the voters. But when we speak covenant now, the covenant is for a people or a community of nations. Understand it. So it may include, well, recently Barbados have joined with St. Vincent and Belize and Dominica. Who knows? All of them could, we could be locked in. We could be locked in with them. Yeah, so it is not just Barbados, or it can refer to things of and other nations. Now, also the goal of a manifesto is to declare intentions after a government has people have critiqued what's going on in the country, and the call for change. These are the things that after I have investigated, need to change. And these are therefore my proposals for this change. And you get them in a manifesto. Where a covenant now is establish or maintain a lasting, faithful relationship. It keeps going there. It keeps going there all the time. It keeps going there all the time. It keeps stressing on a lasting relationship. Again, the direction of it is a warn to many, or a government, a party to the public. It's like that. Again, and I did some research in another section, and it's usually a covenant is usually relational. It is relational. It's a relationship. It gets personal now, and the nature of the promise. And I want to highlight this one here. The manifesto is based on vision and policy used to persuade persons to buy into it. And we know that has been the climate we've known. We've known a manifesto, and people say, I'm going to do this, and get us to buy into it, to give them the vote, based on that. But the nature of a covenant is based on integrity and character, and it's often binding. And this is the part that is a little concept. It's often binding regardless of the other party's actions. So in other words, if I go into a covenant with you, or if we go into a covenant with the Barbados Labour Party, as they are inviting us now to come into covenant with them, if they are doing things that we don't like, covenant still stands. It still stands. We agree that we're locked in. It still stands. And I want us to understand that it still stands. So I can break the arrangement, or I could behave as I like, and we see sometimes in marriages, we got a marriage, we declare we're gonna love each other, and for better or for worse, and everything else, and we see people turn away from that, and you find that it's legally binding, and you cannot easily get out of it. You got to go on, you got to pay lawyers, and you got to do this. And some people just throw their hands in the air and say, look, I could as well stay here. We may separate, but it's still married. I can't bother to go through a divorce. I can't go through all of that. So a covenant is like that. You cannot easily get out of it. You cannot easily get out of it. It is not like the manifesto that is temporary. It is generally intended to be permanent. It is intended to be permanent. So here is a government offering, it's a party offering to its citizens. Let's come into a covenant. This is not a manifesto. This is not what you intend to do for you for the next 5 years. I want you to understand that this is forever. I want you to understand that there's no room for opposition, and I'm sure we have heard that statement. There's no room for opposition here. All must be on board. We are after full support. We intend to rule for life. This is what This is what you are going to be signing into. And should you put your ex there, you come into agreement, and you're locked in because your ex becomes your signature. Tonight I'm trying to open the eyes of person. It's not just I like her, or I like her reputation, or it's a serious thing. It's a serious thing when someone that when we are used, or people are used a manifesto, and they are generally thinking, okay, this is a manifesto, and it's operating the same way, but really and truly you're being deceived into signing a contract that is binding. And most people, I'm not sure how many people would be aware of this information, and you would start to wonder, why would a person, people who are trying to be in government, want to lock me in, trick me, because they're not explaining it. They just move the word manifesto and use covenant. So, and we just, most people would just let it slide. Why would you want to trick people into signing on to a particular agreement? It means that you have some plans for those people. Some plans after they have signed on and given the okay. The plans will be unfolded. And if they think it is just about we and Barbados, and this is we think, no. You are part of a bigger thing. As is said, you can become is a part of nations. So you become part of a bigger thing. And you're locked in. So then when you start to complain, you can say, but here, I propose this to you as a covenant. You agreed by putting your X, that's your signature. Why are you now complaining? You have given me your right. You have given away your right. People of Barbados, when we go and we put that X, let us be conscious that we are signing into something a lot bigger than what we can see here in Barbados. And all is coming through under our guise. Normally we hear, oh, the manifesto is being brought out tonight, and you have the crowds, and you have all the fanfare. But all of a sudden, the covenant has been presented. The covenant has been presented. When people are expecting a manifesto, a covenant has been presented. And they are still thinking it's the same thing as a manifesto. No, it is not the same. So I would love to ask the Barbados Labour Party, why the change from a manifesto to a covenant? Why? And with whom is this never-ending relationship? Apart from us in Barbados, who else is a part of this relationship? Are we to understand that whether we are happy or not, we must remain locked in? Are we becoming a one-party state? Because that's what a covenant will lead us to. Are we becoming a one-party state? And you're not saying it, but you come subtly with your covenant. And when we sign on to it, you can unfold whatever you have, whatever else that you're not seeing. Is there a world? Is this part of the world agenda you're signing us on to without us really being, alert and aware of what we are doing? And therefore, is this the reason why we have the cybercrime bill waiting? Because if the covenant is signed and the Barbados Labour Party government is empowered, we are locked in for life. Those who have a problem and dare to open their mouths, we don't have $100,000. So Marcia, people like you and I will be locked away because we have not signed into this covenant. And the other thing is this why people that have not voted for this Barbados Labour Party government, is this why there is this whole setup and these people are victimized? You can feel it, it is obvious, and you are bombarded. Is this why? Is this what this is all about? To bring those who have a different view, into subjection.
Yes.
To this one thing.
Can I just say, I see Mr. Murray there, and I asked him for 5 minutes, and I think I've gone over the 5 minutes. But Mr. Murray, that's okay. You can give us a little bit more. I think that just take care. I'm going to give you another 5, Mr. Murray. I'm going to give you back. All right. Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you so much. 5 minutes more. Thank you. This is very good. Thank you for the explanation.
I was actually about to wrap up, so I was just asking the questions. Is all of this why we are seeing the aggressive action against those who oppose, and they shutting down and the threats? When persons educate the masses, you see that they come after us in an aggressive manner and try to shut us down. It is almost like if they could arrest us, they would arrest us, Marcia, like how they threaten to send you back to Jamaica. I'm a Barbadian, so I smile because I would say, whatever you try with me, turn it back on your head. That's what I would declare all the time. But what I'm saying, the persecution and the trying to bring everybody into alignment, in agreement, and but if you're not coming in alignment, if you hear somebody rise up and speak up, then we go and buy them, we offer some money, next thing you know, they're gone silent, they have been bought, so they buy into they buy into the covenant. So what is this all about? And I just want to say that our eyes are open. Our eyes are open to what is happening. We are aware of the difference between the manifesto and the covenant. And we have some questions. What are your intentions? Come out and let us know. Why did you change from manifesto to covenant?
Oh, this is deep. This is deep stuff, and I thank you so much for taking the time to come to share with us. And I would love for you to stay, if you can, in with us tonight, and we can, so that in case people have any questions, if you can. I know you have prayer tomorrow. If you can't, then you can come on another night. Okay. I don't want, I'm not going to stress you out. You feel free to come on another night. But thank you so much. I thought that this was very eye-opening tonight. Thank you so much, Miss Rock.
You're welcome.
Yes. Oh, wow. Wow. What an amazing session. Lots of food for thought there. What I say about this before Mr. Murray comes is that I was one of those moments. I was home just on the bed, laying down, and I was told to go to look at when I say told, like this inner voice tells me, look at the 2018 manifesto. And when I went to look at it, I'm like trying to figure, okay, what am I looking at? So I'm comparing what was done, to what was said and what is now done. And then I noticed, I said, did it actually say a covenant of hope? I'm like, that is so odd. What do you call a manifesto a covenant? And if you listen to what she said this time around, she didn't do it in 2022. What she said this time around, she said, this is not a promise. Let's go back and listen. She said, this is a covenant. And she said it over and over when she was on the stage. And it's good to look at words and see what she means. And outside of her telling us what she means, we have got to go and try to understand it, right? And I think that she has done a wonderful job of that this evening. Well, we have Mr. Murray here, and I'm getting his image up on the screen. I do not, unfortunately, I don't have Dave is at work this evening, so I'm trying to do a lot of things myself. So he's back and forth trying to help me, but we're getting through. So okay. Mr. Murray, look, I got a nice picture here for you. Every conceivable political trick in play, political trickery. That is your topic, and this is so beautifully done. Go right ahead, Mr. Murray.
Thank you, Marcia. Thanks for having me once again. And I think that just by happenstance, that the presentation by Ms. Rock presents an excellent segue into my topic. Remember, Ms. Rock also talked about language and words used and questions, because in her topic, in her exposition, she displayed excellent critical thinking, where she challenged the youth. Did not assume that one word meant and what it would mean, and she challenged and researched the difference between manifesto and covenant. And I myself did that when the covenant of hope came in 2018.
Can I say something, Mr. Murray? That's one of the things that I learned on the show through you. You remember you used to go through the words and the meanings. And that's something that you have taught me. Don't listen just to what she's rattling off. Go and research it. And I learned that from you. But go right ahead.
Yeah. So I think Ms. Rock did that admirably well, because words, is particularly in politics, words, communication in general, particularly in politics, where words are being used, specifically chosen to influence people, to get their support, to get their vote. It is very important that you pay the most critical attention to it. And I thought this topic would be applicable because when the Covenant of Hope came into being in 2018, that was after I left the BLP in 2013, we had prior to that, we had since 1938 had manifesto. But to me, it was an attempt to try to project and make people believe that by the use of covenant, and because of the religious connection with covenant, and because of Barbados' deep, long-standing religious foundation, religion and faith foundation, a lot of people would therefore they were probably hoping that people would begin to see a hope as a higher grade. Covenant has been a higher grade in the manifesto, and therefore you should accept it more and buy into what it says, rather than not be as critical as you have to do, or you want to do in a manifesto. It's all about, again, that's, I said political trick, but I can use another term, political device, political technique, because it is all being exercised to try to change people's minds, to get you to come, let it come your thinking. And these words in political campaign, words are very carefully chosen, because the words convey meaning, intention, values, and it is meant to separate one party from the other. And so therefore, the messaging is all part of the message. If you have the message in song, the lyrics in song matter, as you would remember from what happened in St. Lucie at the Checker Hall on Air Bar there. and with the youngsters on stage, etc. So these messages come in different forms. And what I realize now is that the parties all do and should pay close attention to the techniques and devices and language chosen. Some of it is done in a variety of ways. Those who have the intention or the means can hire consultants to advise on the words that work, or words that be effective, words that the thing about politics or any other use of words that there's no word that is sacred. There's no sacred that cannot be challenged or quib or played around with to turn to your advantage or turn against or to diminish its impact as intended by the author. So now right now at this stage of the campaign, with just over a week to go to voting, the messaging will become even more important because very soon all the words that have been used before will be compressed and settled down into a few words, messages, items in the manifesto and meetings that will drive home the message to the conclusion on the election day. And I thought, therefore, that even I should draw attention, look at the choice of slogans. For example, the slogan that the Democratic Party has chosen, BIM first, is very reminiscent of a slogan successfully used in 1976 by Tom Adams of the BAP against the Alvarez DLP. And it said, "We put Barbados first." BIM first is, to my mind, seeking to do the same thing. BIM first. BIM first I presume with their values and their thinking and their intention, their goals, etc. So it's in the same vein as we put Barbados first. But on the other hand, I recall that the BLPs I put with Barbados first was chosen both literally and figuratively. Literally, in the sense that Barbados Labour Party does have Barbados first. So it was a question of literally and figuratively putting Barbados first. So that's what in those days. And then I see there's another one being used by the DLP. Talk about tricks in 70s, tricks in 76. That again, no tricks in 26. That's also a reminiscent of this for political history. Those sort of person who would not know these things, just to show you how language changes and used and revive and represented. No tricks in 76 was a theme the Barbados Labour Party used also. So on this one it says BIM first and thing. So it means then that we have to pay further and further attention, greater and greater attention to all that's being said. And that brings me to the manifestos. And the BIP would have launched its manifesto last weekend. And these manifestos are major productions and presentations using with all, in the case of the BIP, they use, and the DLP has, in all fairness, has not yet launched its manifesto. I understand it should be coming in a few days' time. So the BLP has come out first out of the gates. So as the ruling party, as the income party, who would have set the agenda for the meeting, called the election, they themselves would have made sure that they're about as ready with everything and so they can come first. Because they came first. But when you strip away I only got late today a printed copy of the Barbados Labour Party's manifesto and its red book, because at my age I really don't intend to read 86 pages of fine type on a computer for the manifesto and 30 something for the other document, the red book of it. It's too onerous, so I will be able to say more. But based on what I've seen so far, the language employed is used to entrench some of the language, and some of the language was used to entrench this inclination, these instances of a mentality of dependency into people. For example, and this dependency syndrome, this mentality, this use, this technique, these policies for the historical record, the greatest exponent of that had been the Prime Minister's grandfather, Mr. Edie Morley, when he was the mayor of the city of Bridgetown. That was his hallmark, that where people were encouraged by the system to become dependent on the system and the personalized tax system rather than do things on their own. I said, for example, let us look at one of the items of the manifesto that caught my eye was what has been described a cost of living cash credit of $100 monthly or $1,200 yearly to go to pensioners, welfare recipients, and persons getting special needs grants. So this a cost of living cash credit of $100 monthly. And as a pensioner, I was, of course, that caught my attention because I'm well aware that, as far as I'm concerned, the government still owe the contributing pensioners, who get a contributory pension from the NIS money because there was an agreement that such pensioners would get an increase every January. But in 2018, when the Prime Minister advocated about giving an increase to non-contributory pensions, persons who had lived and for whatever reason had not contributed to the NS system, but they were going to get an increase. And one could not quarrel with that because one wants to see everybody in Barbados do better and get more money, get more disposable income, more money in their hands to spend. But what we found out afterwards, what the Prime Minister, her party did not explain, that this would have come at the expense, as far as I'm concerned, as far as it is determined, of the contributing pensioners who had been firstly guaranteed an increase every January. And the non-contributing got a 45% increase at the expense of the contributing pension. I've never forgotten that. And therefore, I paid close attention to that. I also paid a close attention to the wording again for pensioners, welfare recipients, and persons getting special needs grants. I would have thought that with the enlightened or supposedly enlightened management and guidance and ministerial supervision of Mr. Kirk Humphrey, who has just created a combined, a combination of the various social agencies. I forget the exact name, it should come back to me. Recently launched, it's supposed to be proclaimed and go into law. One agency, and this agency will now empower and enfranchise and do all these things to people in words. So if that is so, how could you, in this day and age, still talk about welfare? I felt there was a different language, called welfare has a negative connotation all over the world. I think a more sensitive, progressive, as he would say, term should have been used to describe these persons, especially into getting special needs grant. I thought, therefore, it was, or you could just say increases rather than a special needs, rather a cost of living cash credit. Just say an increase. So what does a cost of living cash credit mean? I feel it is a use of language which again meant to confuse, befuddle, to make people believe they're getting more or better than what they get. But in truth and fact, it is more of the same in different language. So what is also interesting about the mention of this increase is the manifesto don't say how soon it would start or how long it will last or where its funding will come from. Will the funding come again out of the NIS and put its finances in peril? We do not know what it will cost Barbados every year. So these are things that need to be spelled out in the future discussion on this matter as we go ahead in the manifesto. I was also caught too by the mention in the manifesto of, and I quote, a dedicated fund of $5 million annually to support churches and faith-based organizations, delivering impactful programs to keep young people off the streets, build skills, and strengthen life. Very laudable, very noble, very praiseworthy objectives. But I then recall that churches already get subventions from government. If one goes through the estimates every year, you'll see that there's a classification for, and there's the allocation of money that the money goes under subvention. And churches, hundreds, churches and non-governmental organizations and non-profit organizations and charitable institutions, they already have a source of funding through which is police, at least nominally in the estimates. You know what it's about. Though, while the objectives on paper of this $5 million fund seem praiseworthy and you can't really quarrel with the objectives, I would like to see it become another slush fund. I would have to be told the criteria by which these funds are allocated. What do you do for qualified? Who police them? Is it going to be managed by a political figure, a political body, or whatever? And so that $5 million is a lot of money. And it might, if it is not properly handled, you see the tendency for these things to go to friends, family, fornicators, and all the favorites, right? I would like to see further Barbadian taxpayer dollars go in that regard in the guise of churches. And you remember that this government and the previous BFE government, because I was also a part of that government, and I in the Prime Minister's office, I also had responsibility for their management of religious affairs, dealing with the churches, etc. So I know the importance. I know what they do. I know how they operate. But I've seen with the appointments of spiritual advisors, whose contribution and whose value are yet to determine, because you don't see or hear them. And when you see some of the government's action, you question whether they're doing or whether what they're doing has any impact on the thinking and decision making of these things. So we need to look at this again and question things, language, because this could be also. Remember, I'm talking about using every conceivable trait, including that could include also creation of a fund for church support churches, in order to try to woo further and get the support of the religious bodies and faith bodies, etc. So nothing is beyond government's intention at this stage in order to try to consolidate its position and make sure it gets its support from the public. And also, there was another one called the Barbados Republic Child Wealth Fund. Barbados Republic Child Wealth Fund birthright dividend of $5,000 for those children born, I think, since the Republic, in 2022. I don't have the details with me, but I thought it was interesting. Again, they will draw this sum of money when they're between the ages of 18 and 25. So here you are, people. While in the past, Barbadians have been encouraged to be thrifty, to cut and contrive, to join meeting turns, to belong to a credit union, to invest in pension funds and all kinds of other funds that people now have available to them for their children. Why should, to me, this is, people, and this is a government that's at the same time talking about in the future and in the education transformation, as they say. Financial literacy is going to be very important to teach children how to handle money, to appreciate money, how to create wealth. But here you are trying to create a mentality where people say, well, I'm going to cool out until I reach between 18 and 20 and draw this money. To me, it's again more dependency, more unnecessary dependence on the state. What we should be doing is make sure you give enough people good sums in which they can make a living, pay their bills, have disposable income, invest again in credit unions, etc., and banks and buy government bonds. All those are creditable way of sophisticated, respectful way of where people are being taught to manage their affairs and don't depend on the government So when you can bring a child or a group of children, I think it sends the wrong. So again, it sends the wrong message about dependency, and we should stay away from that as much as possible, and we think that therefore that from what I've seen so far, in the I've only picked up what these alarming things that jumped to me from what I briefly seen and read and heard. That these are things that government should be called upon. Again, these are things. Well, of course, everybody would like to feel that when the child reaches a certain age, even though government is paying for tertiary education or whatever, that they have something which isn't always adequate. You need to back it up and put further investment behind it because of the cost of living these days, and God knows what this might be worth 20 years from now, whatever it is. So I feel this sends the wrong message. I remember, and I say this because I remember having when I worked with Prime Minister Tom Adams, and I had reminded him that Mr. Barr had instituted a system when he became Premier of Barbados in 1961, and I know because I was a participant in this program when I first went to work in government. At Christmas, they would let you a month's salary, which we then paid over in the following January, February, March, 3 months. And I had just left school. I think I was making $126 a month at that time. And of course, I went into it and they paid it. And he told me, but what he preferred to people to, rather than going to debt to government, to develop their own funding, their own source of income. And he said the credit union was one of the sources that he was looking at. And that's why he put so much emphasis and gave so much emphasis and provide greater provision for the establishment and the entrenchment and development of the credit union as a sector in Barbados. I don't think he gets enough credit for what work, but he really, along with like what he did, Prime Minister Adams did with the solar water heating. These are things that he felt would help to develop the society culture. So therefore, and he's proven right, because look at the flourish, the abundance, the explosion of credit unions in Barbados today, with billions of dollars in assets, hundreds of thousands of managers, and they are serious financial sector to be wrestled with. So I would that is a kind of attitude for future development, rather than nothing at all. Help those who need the help when they need it, but do not deliberately cultivate a system, a mentality, and activity that would encourage people to seek to depend on government rather than seek to do it themselves. So give them the means that they can help themselves. And therefore, I also want to talk to, if you could tell me how many more minutes I have. How many more minutes are you giving? How many more minutes left?
8 more minutes.
That's minus the 5, minus the extra 5.
No, because right, you're now finishing at 9:10 instead of 9. 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's wrong to talk at 10, right? Rather 8 minutes. Anyway, I'm electioneering. I'm looking for more to get more advantage. No, but I also want to talk a bit about, in my opinion, something that also falls into this whole category of the every conceivable trait. I also feel that this whole question is related, but not directly same, of the problems that exhibit themselves in registering voters. The registration of voters has been badly mishandled by all concerned, and I said so deliberately. I feel that first of all, I feel that, for example, where the government should have, having been aware of how many Barbadians how upset Barbadians have been since 2022, when 6,000, 7,000 people were prevented, disenfranchised, stopped from voting in the 2022 election when COVID was at its height. because when government refused to give any, even consider any provision, even discuss it with the public, ask for suggestions as to how it could be done to allow people to vote when other countries in the Caribbean made provision for that. And people therefore have been, there are a lot of people who have not forgotten that. And they think that the EBC as an institution was fair enough or broad-minded enough to rather than just so abruptly, so rigidly interpret the law, that it should have made within that same law provisions like other governments have done, like I said, legally done for persons to get scope. So that I think that was a bad thing. And therefore, rather than sticking closely to the law, of course, the law that governs the number of days between various activities in compiling voters' list and completing it and having it inspected and having the final thing, all that is important. But I felt that there was enough time if the EBC had learned from its unfortunate, unforgivable behavior in 2022, that they should have used the skills and the imagination to come up with a way within the law. For example, I felt that the registration centers could have been open for longer hours or more days to give more people a chance to try to rectify the situation, because there were errors which came out, not largely, it seems, from what I understand or what I can observe, from the people themselves, but from the methods used and chosen by the EBC to conduct the enumeration process, rather than using the system of personnel who had done in the past. They remember they tried to enlist the postal workers, and the postmen resisted, and then they went for other senior persons, I understand, in the postal service who did so, and it was replete, full of errors, and that having been done, I thought they should have then therefore adjust, like I said, adjust more days, more hours, open to 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night for a short period of time, so that as many people could comfortably go and get the registration and make up for any loss. And remember, this is coming against a background of what everybody's saying is increased voter apathy. So people that could increase voter apathy, if people are saying, I can't be bothered, stop me from voting, I think I'm like, if it's not there, because checking your name used to be a routine thing before. It was not a big issue. And the candidates themselves used to play a major role by getting the list and going into the constitution, calling them, people coming. So it used to be a much smoother process. So therefore, I felt that the Prime Minister's solution of calling in observers was doing at the end of the process, where the trouble was with the preparations and execution, rather than with the voting method or delivery method on voter day. So I think that that's a necessary step, and it's typical of the Prime Minister, who is always going to form a committee or send some other bodies to do something when it does. It's not whenever their objections made as coming out originally from the government. And I think that therefore any tarnishing of Barbados' name, right, would have been as a result of the government decided to call in the observers rather than of anything inherent wrong and Barbados state of it. On the other hand, I feel that the opposition, who has 2 members on the commission, and the government has 3, and the government has the chairman and the opposition has the vice chairman. Their spokesperson, Mr. Grinch, had said that they had tried very hard to point out a number of things that were going wrong with the enumeration, with the preparation of election machinery, etc. And they were not listened to. Their views were not taken into account, and they went ahead and did it the other way anyhow. I felt that in that case, the 2 members of the representing the opposition in the Electoral Boards Commission could have the opposition leader should have written to the chairman of the Electoral Boards Commission to point out their unhappiness with the thoughts and call for immediate action. I also feel that if they got no response or unsatisfactory response or no cooperation, then I think that letter should be written to the president, who appoints this body, copy to the leader of the opposition, copy the prime minister, and so that the president will be aware of what is happening, and it would have been given them more scope. And also, last thing on that, I felt that the arbitration, while it raised an important and useful device, which has not, to me, given enough traction yet, I feel that they could have provided a well laid out document, tabulating and indicating step by step the deficiency did not meet in how we often they met this year as against last year, etc. So that a convincing case and give it to the public, send to institutions, and also give it to the public so the public, or the final analysis, they appeal to the court of public opinion for voting, and therefore they also have an obligation to give the public the fullest account as much as possible.
As you were talking, I was writing down some things because, as you know, Miss McLean has been assigned to the EBC, and I would love to ask her some of these questions. I know she's been on brass tacks explaining about the no meetings, and she, but I would really love to ask her. I just ask her if she's listening.
Yeah. No, but I just feel that it should have been formalized.
Yes,
use the
makes
same
sense.
formal government structure to ventilate the issues to the highest possible bodies who are in a position to make decisions to correct the situation.
Yes.
Okay? All right.
Makes sense. All right. Okay. Well, we're at 9:10. Anything else you wanted to speak on, Mr. Murray?
I want. Or there was something I want to speak on today.
But if it comes back up before we end, then you just let me know.
No problem.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Well, another brilliant. Tonight has been amazing. We had the young Jamal was on, Jamal Sandiford, and he is the candidate for St. Michael Northeast, and he did an amazing job.
I heard some of him, and I was particularly intrigued when he mentioned some names and districts that I was very familiar with. 2nd Avenue, Allen's Land. He talked about Butler's Avenue, because that was part of my territory in Chapel Gap, Spooner Hill. And I was shocked to hear about the condition of the road in Butler's, because Butler's like my road in Chapel Gap was paved in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And every effort was made. All those roads should have had a basic paving. So to hear that road descend in such a condition really, really is horrifying. It's really, really shocking and surprising and disappointing to me, because we had basic roads, we got street lights, and that changed our lives forever. I never forget when we got the road paving, and when we got, particularly when we could also go to the road and play at night, walk during the day at night. It changed your life. You open up your life, open up the world to you. So I'm surprised that something as basic, and that is why I've never underestimated, and I've never frowned and scoffed at people calling for good roads, because I know how the basic road, I can make basic change in the quality of your life.
Yeah, wonderful. He did an amazing job. And then Miss Rock, that segment, I believe that those of you in the church, this is very important. Those who are praying for Barbados, watching over Barbados in prayers, that this is something that you should go ahead and you can cut it out, share it with your prayer group, share it in your churches. Important for you to sit down and go through that with your leader, with your church leader. Sit down and go through that segment by Miss Rock. And this particular segment, as somebody said, Mr. Murray is the person said, too old for anybody to trick him, and so
I would like it. I prefer to think I'm a little too wise.
Too wise. We will, yes. Yeah, we will say wise. We will say wise.
Wisdom comes with life experiences, which get more and more deeper with age. So, okay. So, thanks for the kind words, anyhow, from the person.
Yes. And but we have on the screen here a thumbnail that says Mia Motley tells us why Ralph Thorne should be elected as leader. You believe this, Mr. Murray?
I think I remember some statements as to when he was on her party and she was boosting him for election in 2018, some very honorable, praiseworthy things were said about him.
Yeah, because you know, it's so interesting when I watch that video. We're going to play the video. Guys, go ahead and share up the live, share the live, because this is important, and I'd love to hear from the viewers. We're going to have the phone open for you to call. WhatsApp calls only. WhatsApp calls only, okay? To tell us what your views are on this, bearing in mind that Mr. Thorne, before he crossed, he was in a black suit, and he gave this powerful message about morality and spirituality, and I couldn't understand it. I'm like, oh, why is he speaking like that? You know, but listening to her, I fully everything, she's put so many things in context for me. Listen to her. So I'm going to move this and let Dave, if you want to get going again and put it up. Dave, are you there? Yeah? Yes. So you can go ahead and play it, Dave.
For those of you who wanted to know who Ralph Thorne really is, let's have a listen.
You have Ralph Thorne, an eminent Queen's Counsel, a man known for taking up the cases and causes of people who don't have a voice in this country, because he's in a position not just to speak as an eminent Queen's Counsel, but as a man who is deeply rooted in theology. How many of you know that Ralph has studied at Codrington College in theology? How many of you know that he is consumed with the spiritual development of this nation and not just the worldly development and prosperity of his constituents?
We all in this with Ralphie. We all in this with Ralphie. Yeah, one vision, one people, one destiny. We all in this with Ralphie. We all in this with Ralphie. Yeah.
Say that again, please.
For those of you who wanted to know who Ralph Thorne really is, let's have a listen.
You have Ralph Thorne, an eminent Queen's Counsel, a man known for taking up the cases and causes of people who don't have a voice in this country, because he's in a position not just to speak as an eminent Queen's Counsel, but as a man who is deeply rooted in theology. How many of you know that Ralph has studied at Codrington College in theology? How many of you know that he is consumed with the spiritual development of this nation and not just the worldly development and prosperity of his constituents?
We all in this with Ralphie. We all in this with Ralphie. Yeah, one vision, one people, one destiny. We all in this with Ralphie. We all in this with Ralphie. Yeah. We all in this with Ralphie. Yeah, yeah. He crossed the floor, not for fame or glory. He crossed the floor to rewrite this.
Keep it right there, Dave. Keep it there. I'm saying, I wrote down what she said, Mr. Murray, and one would never. I'm a new kid to the block, right? And you're wiser. I'm not saying older. You're wiser. An eminent Queen's Counsel. He picks up the causes of the voiceless and cases. He is deeply rooted in theology. And this one is very strong. He's consumed with the spiritual development of the country. He's consumed with the spiritual development of the country, not just, the financial development, etc., but also he's consumed. He has a degree in theology. Wow. Very interesting. Mr. Murray, any thoughts on that?
Sure. Well, it is to be expected that when it is like when a relationship has broken down, separate apart, you would not believe that some of the things that are said by the separated couple, that they ever loved or said or felt they loved each other. So this separation is to be expected. It says that politics breeds its own strange bedfellows.
Strange bedfellows, yes.
Politics makes for strange bedfellows. And also, those who cheer you today will jeer you tomorrow. And that in politics, you don't have real friends, you have alliances and colleagues. And that words and positions will change depending on the person's intention and goals. And above all, I said that it has been said by some people, and some people have practiced it, that the rules that apply, the rules of morality and principles of rightness and correctness that apply to the mainstream society do not apply to politics. Or some people say that do not apply either to business. And that politics has its own morality, where this can be said one time, and where the tables turn, the opposite is said. So this is all part of the tricks, the techniques that I spoke about earlier in politics. And it is not, and I'm sure that that you could probably find recordings where Mr. Thorne spoke glowingly. I will comment this about Miss Molly at another time. And now in the campaign we saw that because the objectives have changed, your roles have changed. His role, he's no longer a supporter of the BLP. His role has gone against the BLP. He's now a DLP, and therefore his role and status and therefore his function must of necessity change in order to justify his progress and his existence and his occupancy of the current role.
Mr. Murray, thank you for that. I'm going to ask, I would love to hear those who are on, to call in and let me know your thoughts on this. On this, because I spoke to a couple of people from Grisette's, where he grew up. This is Thorne, last week, and what she's saying here, really resonates with it confirms is the right word I'm looking for, what I was hearing. Because when I spoke to people in Grisette's, the whole spirituality part, which I wasn't very familiar with, they would say that from a child and from a teenager, and they had certain comments, which it's interesting. So the consume with the spiritual development, I understood that from talking to just a few people in Grisette. So so I think that is good. The number, let me just say the number 236, guys, 236 7000, 236 7000. Okay, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you.
Yeah, the Prime Minister's reference to, or Ms. Molly's reference then, as did the opposition to Mr. Thorne's involvement and enthusiasm for and support of things religious and spiritual. Those are also borne out. He wrote a book, an autobiography, some years ago. I want something, Whispers of My Soul, I think is the name, in which he talks about the regularity with which he and his brothers, his siblings, went to church. He talks about Grace Hill Primary School and church there. So that kind of background, he grew up across the road, literally from where he grew up in Grisette's, from Spooner. So, and all families knew each other. So this was the common experience of the average Barbadian child going to Sunday school, going to church, having a strong religious background, having religious knowledge being taught in schools, knowing your 10 Commandments as a matter of course. those are all the values and the lessons that were instilled of us. And I still have it in, believe it or not, in me, I still remember some of it. I don't always practice it, but at least it's there. It's part of their brain. So therefore, that will be consistent with what.
Mr. Murray, really sorry about that. We have a caller. Welcome, caller. If you could turn down or turn off your device, make sure I'm not on speaker. Yes, wonderful. Welcome. Good night. Good night.
Blessings to you, Marcy, positivity, and to you, Marie, as well, and the whole of Barbados.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I received those blessings.
Okay. My thoughts on this here is she sending a message not only locally, internationally, letting people know that Ralph Thorne is the man for Barbados. So basically, people should really open their eyes, open their ears, and I don't want to tell people going to vote Democratic Party, but Democratic Party is the main choice right now because when you check it, it's Ralph Thorne when he started talk is like it's not only hit the spirit, hit the soul, is literally bring out to transform you to make you want to be a better person. So what she said is very true, and he's very educated. So basically, the morals of education that he has to is like society, and that's what we want. Society, we are lacking of in Barbados right now because the roots of Barbados, right, has faded away. So we gotta get by the roots down, get by the tree, so that we can branch out and go and show the positivity of Barbados once again. And Ralph Thorne is carrying that some morals of respect, and we're going to take us back to the roots to grow the tree once again.
Yes. Thank you so much, caller, for your comments. Thank you so much. Very observant. Thank you.
Blessings to everyone.
Good night.
And receive them. Thank you. There is a comment. Thank you, sir. Again, you feel free to call and to voice your comment on this particular video. Someone, Adrian Hines, is saying something here. He says, anyone who wants a window into Thorne should listen to how he eulogized his mother. It was a precursor to why he was leaving the BLP, because he was his mother's child. I will say, does anybody have a copy of that? Anybody know where we can find a copy of that eulogy of his mother? If you can send it to me, please. A eulogy of his mother. I would like to hear, about him. I would like to know a bit more. I see Mr. Bob has also joined. Good night, Mr. Bob.
Hi, good night, Mr. Murray.
Good night, Mr. Bob. How are you, sir?
Not bad at all. Just a little tired from the day's work, but that's all in it. Yeah, but it's good to be here. Good night to the lawyer opposition. So I've been following your presentation with much interest.
Thank you.
Every trick in the book.
Thank you. Yeah. After you make your initial comments, I would then have something to say about something further. Go ahead. I'm not taking over Marcy's role. That's that I'm not trying to stop you from speaking.
Yeah, not at all. Mr. Bob, did you hear this video? I don't know if you had time to hear it.
I heard it today. I saw it sometime in the afternoon or evening time, and I smiled. And what better way to have endorsement by your opponent of such a nature that don't change unless you were being told lies. And the persons who are calling him rat in a derogatory way now must change that, because this is a man who, by their leader, is very much concerned about his spirituality, concerned about this country. He's not only in it as a lawyer, but he's in it as a person who really has the heart of Barbados and Barbadians, who understands and who wants to serve. and that is why he's where he at this point. So I don't know who can take back this. I believe that they forgot that it existed, but here we are tonight. If persons now want to know who Ralph Thorne is, we have a good example and a good testimony tonight.
Yeah. Okay, we have a caller. Let me act this call. Good night, caller. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night to the lawyer opposition as well. Good night to Mr. Murray.
Yeah.
Good night, ma'am.
About the particular video you just saw, I think that is pretty interesting because it either makes her out to be one of two things: telling truth or being a liar.
Or telling lies. We can't call her a liar. Telling lies. Okay.
Well, telling lies.
Okay.
Telling lies. Right. Was this done in 2018 for the 2018 election?
Mr. Murray saying
Yeah, yeah. It looks like at a meeting in Christchurch or something where she was endorsing his candidature in Christchurch South.
Not necessarily directly related to the video, but related nevertheless. The St. John seat. I don't know how many people noticed this, but coming out of the St. John seat, there are 3 candidates, and there are going to be 3 positions coming out of that area as well. You either will be MP, opposition leader, or prime minister.
Interesting, yeah.
Those 3 positions will be coming out of the St. John seat, if no other seat, and no other constituency in Barbados.
Interesting.
Very interesting observation.
So
thank you for drawing it to my attention.
What Joe and pray that it came to me. The other point was like gone out to my head. It got out of my head, can't remember now. But for sure, I wanted to make that point on the air so that people can be thinking or observing what is going to be happening in St. John. That is why there was such a great push to discredit and to push out Mr. Thorne in the St. John constituency.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And, caller, somebody says here, Mrs. Weeks, circulate that video, please. Now, I want to say to everybody on here, I can't do it. It's not for me to circulate it. There's almost 1,300 of you on here tonight. We spoke about this last night, and I'm including you, caller, into this, that we have seen the money that the BLP has. The DLP has a fraction, but you can just look and tell a fraction of the money that they have. And history shows you that the last election, the BLP outspent the DLP and all other parties. 29 instances, except in one constituency. So what I'm saying is this: the caller and everybody needs to share the video. Not for me. I find that you people, as I said last night, you're quicker to share a little gossip and a little joke that happened in the election, and somebody fall down and you're sharing that, but important things like this, that you are depending on others to share it. So we're going to do the best, but everybody has to share it. What do you think about that, caller?
Of course. And the point that we're going to make concerning what you just said is that with the other 2 elections, they might have outspent the other parties. But in this election, the spending is not the thing that has the power. It isn't. Word of mouth is the thing that is having the power. People sharing and talking. And if you listen to people as you walk the streets daily, as you commune in your district, what they're saying, what they're talking.
What are they saying? In your district, what are they saying?
In my district, I heard this loud person saying, I should not have just called me. This is the BLP. I'm not voting for them. I'm not voting for them at all. They were here, they will pass through here, they've been down the street from me, and they don't do nothing but here. I go with the DLP. I go and vote with DLP. And people are talking, and that's what you want. People to get information, to be able to communicate with each other. So the facts can come out. And I think that is what is happening. So that's why they're still, the BLP in particular is pushing all of this advertising and all that, because they think that that's going to subvert the power of the tongue, which it isn't going to do. As they say, word of mouth advertisement is the best form of advertisement. It comes with proof. And that is what is happening.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for them, for the BLP, they missed the boat a long time.
Yeah.
They missed the boat.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, caller. Appreciate you
welcome.
calling. Again, guys, the line is open. You call in, please. We would love to hear from you. We've been talking all night. I know some of you have been typing, but this is a good place to make a comment. Go ahead, Mr. Bob.
I think I can agree with the caller to some extent that this is going to be a little different election than the first two. The dissatisfaction, of course, is a little higher. To the extent, to what extent we will soon find out on February 11th. There's a quiet majority in Barbados based on the turnout from the last election, who are yet, and we call them undecided. But by now, a lot of people would have made up their minds what they're going to do. And then, based on the last push in the next 9 days, 8 days left before election day, we will see how those issues then start to influence person. Remember, we are Barbadians who will leave our Christmas shopping to Christmas Eve. A lot of us last minute, and it's not different. You can lose an election on election day. You can lose an election on the final night of your campaign by saying something foolish or doing something foolish that aggravates the voting public. So the next couple of days, a lot may change. We see a nation poll, and I'm reminded that polls don't vote, which would have seen that there's a tug of war for the undecideds. And it was curious why they did that, because we recognize 60+% of people did not participate in the last election. And if I were a government, I'd be real afraid of that. Very afraid, especially when dissatisfaction and a lot of issues are against me as a government. And that is why there's this push to create that media blitz with these people coming to your meetings. You have yourself, according to Mr. Murray, every trick in the book, because you cannot you're not winning on the issues. So therefore, impressions about your popularity not winning and your popularity still up there, you're using it to sway the public. But it's up to the Democratic Labour Party to keep pushing the issues and appealing to the people of Barbados to make a sensible decision.
Yes, most definitely. I as I seen with the children there, there's a video. I don't know if Dave can find it. I can't believe it at his wisdom, his age. He's heading a ball. Did you see that, Mr. Murray?
Yes, I think I saw that. Yeah.
I was totally shocked. I don't know if Dave can find it, or if somebody can. Mr. Bob, you can send it to Dave.
I saw it somewhere, but I don't think I
think it's on his page, on his Facebook page.
I'll
While
find
we
it.
wait on anybody else to call, guys, I sometimes they say, Mr. Murray, we keep talking and we don't allow them to speak, and and now this is the time for you guys to have to call in, and the number is there. Go right ahead. But Mr. Murray, I know you have something to say.
Yeah, I think the lady who spoke and talked about word of mouth, I think she's making a very important point, because the party is not competing for the attention, support, the loyalty, the action of the electorate. And they like using every device, and the person with the most money has the opportunity to employ a great diversity of devices, all to try to persuade your mind, to get your loyalty, to get your support at work. So it's an ongoing battle for trying to create a bandwagon effect, because they know that people, the reason why you create a mass event to get people's happy T-shirts, whistle, music, is because you're trying to create people like to think they're part of a winning crowd. So you will go with who's winning. These are techniques that are
Yes,
simple
tonight,
in
caller,
public
just give
strategy.
allow Mr. Murray just a minute.
Yeah,
I'm gonna complete his
Uh,
thought. Go
but
ahead,
she
Mr.
made
Murray.
the important point is that word of mouth. There's a concept used in marketing, also in politics, no doubt. The wisdom of crowds, where they say that if you get a collection of opinions across a society, not from a poll, but from people themselves, discussed among themselves, no expert help, you can get a better reading of the intention, a true reading of an electorate than by polls themselves, because people who talk together trust each other more, they're more open, etc. So the wisdom of crowds can be very effective if it is measured and if it is represented properly. All right.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Murray. We have a caller. Caller, good night. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Blessed good night to you, Marcia, and Mr. Murray.
Don't forget, Mr. Bobby is also here with us.
Mr. Bob is there as well.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Bob. Sorry. Good night to you also. And
It is okay. It is okay, sir. I know he's listening small and sharp. We lost him. We lost the caller. Yeah, we lost the caller, Mr. Murray. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. You can go ahead. Take your.
You want me to go?
Yeah, you make your point. Yeah.
So I'm saying that the thing about
Okay, caller.
words. Oh, he's
Caller,
back.
had
He's
a
back
little
now?
challenge there. Caller, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Can you just
Yeah,
start over from the top, please? Start over from the top. There was a problem with the audio. Yes.
All right. Okay. I was saying that my contribution tonight is why. I have a grandson, and every time I explain something to him, in the finest detail, he turns around and asks me why. I have to try to explain to him again and again, and the question still comes, why? Now, I'm asking this question now. Why call an election and still we have no republic constitution? Why is it that we still haven't had an inquiry on the houses? Why pass 125 million takeaway from the people 1 week, and then directly after that you call an election? Why is it?
Ron, is it true you are going to?
When you have been given time, you know, all of these questions I would like to ask the honorary prime minister, because to me the election have been called with a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of promises that was made still have not been fulfilled, and yet still more promises are made. And I'm asking myself, why? I don't necessarily expect you to have the answer, but I'm asking. That's my contribution.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Mr. Bob, Mr. Murray, I don't know if any of you want to jump in there and make a comment or seek to try to answer. And once again, we're going to ask everybody to, you want to make a comment about anything, but particularly we were talking about the video that we just saw of an endorsement in quotation of Mr. Thorne by Mayor Motley. Please give us a call. Go ahead, Mr. Bob, you're ready? You seem to be ready.
Yes. They asked some questions why, and the question asked. I don't know if you were able to see the Corey Green's video. And that one of those questions was asked, why would you ask the voters for more time when you had more time left before you call the election? You had over a year left in your term, but you've called an election to ask for time, more time to complete the work that you were not able. But on 2 occasions, you cut short your term, 3.5 years, and now 4 years. So what? And the question is, why did you do that? And I don't know who can get into the PM's head, but she's the only person that will be able to answer that. But we can do the speculating as to why a leader will shorten her term so significantly and then come to the public asking for more time. Because I suspect there's a pattern of behavior. And Barbadians have to understand that if by chance that she's reelected, we are going to have another snap election too. Because come look at third term and your popularity starts to wane, before it gets to the point where you lose almost all the seats, you're going to be tempted to call it. Your strategy is to call it now.
Yes, Mr. Bob, just hold your thought right there. Let's take a call, and please remember what you are going, okay? But let the callers, okay. Good night, caller. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Thank you, and good night to you and the panel.
Yes.
I'm going to make this very short. Mr. Bob has been asking why elections has been called, but I don't know if Mr. Bob heard that November 28th, the courts announced that the 2022 elections were unconstitutional. So if the elections were unconstitutional, it meant that we were operating with a null and void government. Therefore, an elections has to be called. And I am surprised that the other parties did not know about this.
Well, hold a minute. Where did you get that information? I know that there was a case. Hold a second, ma'am. I know
was a case against the Attorney General and the Chief Justice.
Yeah, I'm telling you, because I went with the person who did it, Philip Springer, but I really cannot remember that was the outcome. If somebody can show it to me in writing, I would believe it.
I will send forward you something that with the printed document. I will forward that to you.
Oh, the printed document. Okay, I would love to see the printed document. I know there's a YouTube video, but I have not. I would love to see the printed document. But continue, please.
But no, what I'm saying is that I am surprised that these other parties were taken off guard, because if they were paying attention, they should have known that the elections were issued unconstitutional, which means an election has to be called. Therefore, they should have been putting their things in order. And the current government, knowing this, they decided, okay, let's call a quick something, because we know the other's not ready, so let's call a quick something that people not registered, and we can get people out there to do things, and the ones that we know are going to vote against us, they may not be registered, because you don't know who is on the list or who is not on the list. They posted the deceased list and they posted the international list, but in order to get onto the current voters list, when you go on the website, you're getting this AI chat thing. I don't know about other people, but that's what I got. This AI chat thing, and you have to put in your social insurance number, which I refuse to. But it is just a fear that the government knows that they are treading on very shaky ground, right? And I don't believe that they're going to get the 30. I sincerely hope they don't get any at all. But that's how the story goes. And I'm going to say good night to you. Very good night. And continue with the show. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. And it's a pleasure speaking with you. Yes. Yes. Mr. Murray, I know you want to jump in there.
Yeah. I was quite intrigued by.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Murray.
Yeah, I was quite intrigued by the caller who said about his son asked him at the end of every bout of question again why. It reminded me of my daughter. At one time, she asked me, I think I just 34 or 42 ways in succession had me exhausted. So I know that's sort of a good inquisitive inquiring mind. But I want to think that the question I want to ask is, the way I want to ask is that I have researched that between the 15 general elections between 1951 and 2018, of those 15 elections, 13 were for 5 years. 5 years, 5. So all the other leaders, the other two one fell short because of the collapse of the Sanford government, and then the other one was just short by a couple of weeks of 5 years. So how is it that all other leaders found it proper? As a matter of fact, at one time, used to vote every year in Barbados. Then it was extended 2 years. That's when the electorate was very small, only the money people. And then it went to 3 years, and between 51, it was to be 3 years to 54. Then it was extended to 5 years, 56. So we got into 5. And I remember that because at one time, Mr. Barber, when he was in opposition, he said that he's going to return it back to 3. So everybody saw the wisdom of 5 years. What has the Prime Minister thought or saying? What does she know deeper than all those other leaders? That 5 years gave you an opportune time to conduct your program. Apart from that, I remember in 2022, as she sought to justify the early election, she said there were some serious decisions that had to be made, some troubling times happening, and she wants some answers, and that she has need a mandate. Those decisions or the problems or the questions were never, ever spelled out to specifically what it was that she was aiming for. And we're having the same thing today, where we have troubling times, changing times. The world is always changing. Mm-hmm. The world has always changed. No leader has ever inherited a government or won a government and found it staying stagnant and stale and for the whole 5 years. It just always changes. It is your training, your experience, your judgment that helps you to manage the change. That's it. Managing the change is essential. Because to say this, the only thing constant in life, change the only thing constant in life. So I don't understand this thing, but changing time. Changing time is a part of nature. So therefore, a strong leadership for a changing time. It's just a slogan. I suspect what was done that some surveys were carried out. Because the BLP carries out its surveys outside of Mr. Davenage, it does its own surveys in between elections. And it showed, from what I understand, that the question of leadership was resonating strong with people. People answered the question of leadership, right? And I think there are punks on that. And therefore, that has helped to garnish the function of construct one of their messages about strong leadership, strong leaders. But we've had good leadership in the past. We've had effective leadership, some better, but we have never saw, as I've said before, strong leaders are the ones who make good and proper decisions involved to benefit the public. Not strong because of whatever interpretation you mean of strong, that you want to dominate or you persuade. So I am yet to be convinced of this need for strong leadership that why has that strong leadership not been exhibited before?
Yeah. Somebody here is saying, before Mr. Bob finishes what he was saying, says, is anyone reading the Representation of the People's Act and the requirements for a valid voters list? The list must be in order before election day. I'm just reading what's on there. I would have to go and read it myself. But I think in cases like this, couldn't a citizen bring a case against the government, like an injunction or something like that, because then they feel that their rights. What about a person who is not on the list and they decide that they want to bring an injunction? Just a thought. But let's go with Mr. Bob.
Yes, I was just the answer here. I think, but if it is not the EBC's responsibility to ensure that the list is ready before an election, then whose responsibility it is? Do not come and hold press conferences and try to blame citizens for not registering on time or checking a register. That is your responsibility. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I was making a point that based on the trends that we're seeing with these type of governance, that these two snap elections will not be the last that we have to go through. I can see a possible after third term in office, if they're given a third term and your popularity starts to fall, I can see a snap election coming and just on over 2 years or under 3 years to stop a slide, because we have now recognized that the aim is for the main aim is about staying in power. So if calling the election 3 years, 2 years before is this constitutionally due, that will not stop her. The time will not stop her, because we have to, as citizens, say to this government that is not right. And don't come and ask us for more time when we gave you a mandate to carry out your responsibility for 5 years and you have not used it.
Makes sense. I think that's a good video, I think, of Mr. I was trying to figure whether we were going to play it today. This is of Corey.
You should.
Corey, right. If you have it and can send it to Dave. I don't know if he's able to. Dave, let me know if you can play any other video before we close. I think that would be a good one of Mr. Corey Greenwich, who is the candidate in Christchurch South. Am I right, Mr. Murray? Yeah.
I saw the video and it's very effective. It's one of the most cogent, persuasive, structured arguments that I've seen in the election so far by anybody. Very well presented, Mr. Corey Greenwich, who is very good at putting this case.
Yes. Dave, are you able, just write in the chat and let me know if you're able to play another video? Right, it's coming to you now.
I sent it.
It was sent by Mr. Bob. Yeah. Thank you, Dave. So you could go ahead whenever you're able to.
We are now on the precipice of an election, a third one in 7.5 years. And the irony about it is that the slogan from the Barbados Labour Party is give us more time to do the things that we need to do. And I want you to grab this real quick. A term under our constitution, a parliamentary term, is 5 years. Mayor Motley called the election in the middle of COVID after the first 3.5 years of her administration. In the middle of COVID. 4 years later, she calls another election. What's the math in that? That's 7.5 years that she has called another election when she really had 10 years to do what she needed to do. So if you had 10 years to do what you needed to do, meaning you had 2 parliamentary terms to do what you needed to do, and you cut those parliamentary terms short, why then come back and ask one for more time? The time was hers. You understand what I'm saying? She had 5 years and decided she's only going to take 3.5. All right, she got back in power. Again, she has another 5 years and only now take 4. And part of the slogan and the mantra of the Barbados Labour Party is give me more time. We gave you the time and you spat in our face and called an election. How about you just govern the country with the time that you have? And then we will come back. You will come with your report card and we will decide if you need more. So tonight we are saying it is clear to me that as much as Mayor Morley is saying give him more time, she is not interested in getting time. She's interested in power. I'm going to say that again. If the Barbados Labour Party was interested in time, they would serve their term because you gave them the time. But clearly they didn't want the time. They just want power. So they would call an election in the middle of COVID and disenfranchise 6,000 voters so they can hold on to power. They would call an election right now where the voters list is in a mess and disenfranchise even more voters because they're only interested in power. So when she says, give me time, turn and say, but we gave you the time and you cut the time short. We didn't cut it short for you. You cut it short.
We're hearing Corey. We're hearing Corey. Corey for the Christchurch South constituency. All we're hearing is Corey. On the street is Corey. Corey Greenwich is the man Corey.
We are now on the precipice of an election.
Wow, powerful, powerful.
Yes.
I told you it was very substantial.
Mm-hmm.
Really powerful. If David's able to put it back up, if it's possible, that would have been great. That is powerful. That is powerful. I mean, and this is just a testimony to the kind of candidates that the leadership of the DLP, well, however the processes, they would have had to vote them in through the branch, the branches, etc., and the process that they have a good. People say, "Oh, well, who's gonna govern the country? You don't have enough people." Look at this bright man.
Marcia, Mr. Marie would confirm that at every turn of the history of politics in Barbados, there were men and women who rose up to fill the breach of leadership. How we get to the stage that we will allow a prime minister and a party to tell us that we cannot find in our country Barbadians intelligent enough to hold on to the reins of government, that it must be invested in one person. She does not have her life in her hands. She does not know if she's going to live long enough to get to election day. Nobody does. And God forbid that happens. What are we saying? God has always given us men and women to stand in the gap and represent people at every turn of this country's history. And don't let us fool ourselves. Mayor Motley has not been given the prime ministership of this country for life. It is but a time. Arbar had his time.
But Mr. Bob, let me sneak in one here and said you missed the presentation by Miss Rock. Your 2018 was a covenant. That's a relationship that is supposed to be lifelong. So I don't know what's wrong with you. I'm just jumping in. I hope I didn't disturb your thoughts.
We don't have our life in our hands. That's what we have to say if it be God's will. Mayor Motley and the BLP does not know if any of them are going to get to election day. Huh? And these young men that we have seen on both sides of the political divide.
It's true.
Don't tell us. Don't come to tell us about foolishness about who's going to lead. Huh? So let us dismiss that right off the bat. And let us look at the issues as they are at this point in time, and let us make a decision on the issues. Leadership will fall into place. And And I'm hoping that you are able to show the videos you have there, Mr. Thorne, because she has confirmed that he is a man of the people, for the people. And although he is in a high office, but he's a lawyer, he can get into the streets and head a ball and kick a football and play road tennis. He
Yes, we're gonna play
identifies
that.
with them, yes.
Yeah. Dave, I don't know. Dave is working and still working, helping us here.
Okay.
Dave, Mr. Bob, it's Mr. Bob's fault. He wants to see the videos with Mr. Thorne heading ball. Let's see if Dave can. Mr. Murray, you're saying something there.
You mentioned it tonight in passing. The question, I would have loved to have seen a couple of organized debates, either between the leaders or representatives of the major parties. I mean, I think Barbados has been robbed of a chance to observe and judge and test their potential leaders under fire, under debate, under stressful, challenging situations, as had happened. I think the last time we had one was 2003. But I'm also concerned, given that what has happened in the preparation for the elections, are we still having party broadcasts? There are also party broadcasts. We only got party broadcasts, three. It used to be 3 for the government, 2 for the opposition. Do we have enough time? Is that still part of the system of governance in Barbados, where they come and present to the people outside of the hubbub and the noise and the glamour, the to and fro of an election, of a meeting, an argument set out in words, etc., and pictures as to what they hope to do, what plan to do for the country, etc. Is that anybody knows if that is still on? I know the election rules provide for it. I've not heard anybody I raised it last Monday. I've not heard anybody mention it at all. Like, strange.
Yeah, I mean, the debates would be good as well, because you need to be able to answer on your feet. You need to understand the issues. You need to understand your manifesto and be able to present it. And that's the beauty of the debates. Well, it's 10:06 and I'm not seeing anybody else calling in. So let's go to playing. Dave, let's play what you have on the screen. Thank you so much, Dave.
Oh, wait, Ralphie.
This one is muted, Dave. Well, one of the things as I was talking to some people, they told me that he was heavily involved in sports and all kinds of sports. So we see him heading ball and playing road tennis. So I guess it's various types of sports.
Marcia, go ahead.
Go ahead, Murray. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that growing up Mr. Thorne grew up in Grisettes. I grew up in Spoonersville, and Ian Goodnell grew up in Long Gap, Spoonersville, between the two. And that was the way, we had no playing fields. So you had to play your games in the road. Cricket, football, rounders, hopscotch, skipping, all was done in the road. So you would have had to develop some of those skills in Grisettes over the years, and that's what he's able to do, exhibit it today. Part of your foundation of life. Hello?
I think she probably have dropped out somehow.
Okay.
Yes, but you can. Yes, of course. That's what we
You would have done the same thing too
Of
already.
course, you had to improvise. You play a gap, and that is when the neighborhoods and the people were together. And but now everybody, when they get home, they're going, they get in the phone, they get in the tablet, they sit in front of the TV, they spend more time on Netflix and those kind of things, and we have drifted away from each other. But these moments of sports pull our people together, and we looked out for each other. And I'm saying that we've lost that. I'm glad that at his age he still has. That's when you were trained by the people in your community, and you draw off each other's talents, and you learn. I learned to swim. I didn't go to learn to swim classes. I learned to swim by running around and jumping in the sea and taking a chance to go outside. You either sink or swim. You get to shore. You just throw a hand and a foot until it becomes, you know, to do it well, and that is how we operate when you live close to the sea. So I am glad that he can, and it complements what the video we saw earlier tonight about the type of person and the type of leader he could be, that he understands the community of where we are at this time.
Well, somebody's saying that all the PM, Mr. Murray probably knows because he's wiser, he's younger and wiser than us. So the person said that every PM has a pastime. And we all know it. What is Mom's pastime? I'm not sure. Probably, I don't know if she played netball. I don't know. Any sports? Probably writing. I don't know what her pastime is. But we have I think what we're gonna play a little bit of the we've been going a little longer, Mr. Murray, than normal, and so we're gonna take up just a few minutes. It's elections, you know. So
It's
so
election time.
yeah. So somebody asked, I think it's Angela. She asked that we play from 49 minutes. So go ahead, Dave. I've never seen this before. My first time seeing it. So go ahead, Dave.
I think I should mention with some special gratitude those persons who returned for this occasion from the United States. It must have taken some effort. And I want to acknowledge Mr. Edwin Reeves, our neighbor and friend from Rosettes, Mr. Everton Drakes, Pastor Winston Critchlow, and our cousin, Miss Diane Payne. If there are others, we're extremely grateful that you would have made the effort to come to this occasion of remembrance. And welcome to everyone. How do you exist in life's unkindest crucible of adversity and struggle, and yet make of that experience a thing of enduring beauty and worth? I speak of beauty not as glamorous images and representations, but I locate it in the sweat and tears of labor spent by honest minds, bodies, and souls that determined that all efforts would be exercised in elevating their children beyond those domains of hardship into a new world, unlike that into which they were themselves born. And the mission is never complete without deep and meaningful expressions of love, not as a mere word dripping from insincere lips, but love as a selfless commitment, a labor of upliftment, a thing of beauty when it is honestly done. Theirs is a generation that connected labor, beauty, and love. And today our family thanks the Almighty for having given to us the gift of a mother, of love, of beauty, of worth, of dignity. This occasion brings our family to the prayer that our mother's journey and destination may now be captured in the words of the hymnist, "O love that wilt not let me go. I rest my weary soul in thee. I give thee back the life I owe, that in thy ocean depths its flow may richer, fuller be." Let us then speak of life, and let us then celebrate the life of Vashti Clovenia Thorne. There was a little girl who walked with bare feet in the dusty soil of St. Simon's in St. Andrew. and played with her eldest sister, Hilda. Hilda and Vashti played and laughed in good beginnings with the other children of this rural village. Every child is entitled to happiness, to hope, and to a sense of optimism. In this, they were satisfied. Iris Davis Foster dressed them proudly for school at the St. Simon's Primary School, and then on Sundays for the St. Simon's Anglican Church. Here was a social ferment complete with the institutions that would nurture and shape their character. The character of these two little sisters, the village, the school, the church. How then do you explain a mother's death to these two precious little children? At the ages of 8 and 5 respectively, their mother was dead. After her death, the girls endured an odyssey in fear, doubt, distrust, and eventually hope, faith, and courage. When we were children, Mom told us very little about her childhood, except to often repeat that her mother died before she was 6 years old. I know she used to say that to remind us of the high value of family and that you should never take it for granted that you would be forever bound to others whom you had the privilege of calling mother, father, sisters, and brothers. For her, family always would be a precious word. In later life, Hilda bore 9 children and Mum bore 12 children. After their migration from St. Andrew to the more energetic urban landscape of St. Michael, Mum continued her schooling at Westbury Girls' School. Barbados was not a kind and gentle society, and even bright young girls of obvious aptitude were condemned to lives of early labor. I am told that our mother came under mentorship in a Garveyite household, and I now believe that this may have profoundly influenced the consciousness that she had of society's inequities and injustices. She learned to sew, and that would be a special skill that would become of much significance in our young lives that were to follow. Mum worked in a few grocery shops of Bridgetown, where she made and kept many of her lifelong friendships. And when they died, she continued the friendships with their children. It is no boast when I tell you that she displayed prodigious mental arithmetical skills in calculating the customer's bills, and she was often assigned this additional task. In her latter years, when she spoke with us more freely, she revealed her thoughts on society and lamented that unkindness and injustice were so commonplace. She never accepted it as a natural incidence of human relations, and she counseled us never to embrace unfairness, neither as perpetrator nor as victim. Mom and Daddy decided that education would become our liberation, and Mom instructed that it was only a belief in God that could become our entire salvation. Still, we are able to reflect on gentle moments where her labor conjoined with nature and created beauty and revealed love. When the door of the bathroom was open, the room faced the morning sun. Those of us in preschool years stood in turns and awaited our bath. Mom stood on the step that led to the bathroom, and her palms massaged the water and soap onto my skin. The sunlight warmed my flesh against the cold water that splashed against me. The combination of the soap and water trickled down my chest and formed itself into a bubble. Absorbing the rays of sunlight, the bubble turned beautifully into colors of the rainbow in its slow descent down my body. The perfectly semicircular rainbow bubbles tickled my skin, and I wanted that moment to last forever. The soap, the water, the bubble with the colors of the rainbow, Mom's gentle hands, the labor, the beauty, the love. It was a fleeting moment that I wish would last forever. My beautiful rainbow bubble was gone, but the love remained. As we grow older, there was a fiery torrent of blows from her belt, as she felt that we had broken one of the many rules of the household. But she forgave us later and became Mum once again. Mum. We conjured with the gentle sweetness of that name. And when we referred to both our parents, we always said Mum first. It was Mum and Daddy. Did we ever consciously consider that Mum was the anchor that grounded our lives in religious and moral beliefs? Did we know that whatever would be our futures, we would always do our duty and do so consciously, with honesty and with integrity? For all the time that we coexisted with our mother, she never lived a day unless she lived it being fair to others. I remember two of the statements she often uttered, challenging the theories of some sociologists and criminologists. She would say, "You can be honest no matter how poor you are." She insisted that we could live both experiences of material poverty and of honesty, knowing that material wealth does not erase spiritual poverty, and honesty is a great legacy to bear. Leaving home to go somewhere, she stopped any of us of any age by the door in abrupt language. "Where do you think you're going looking like that?" She was simultaneously clothing our character and our bodies, and the word decency coincided in both endeavors. When Daddy's language threatened the boundaries of decency, she would glare in his direction and ask, "Can't you be more placid?" More than once, he was telling one of his stories, and he teased her by describing a donkey cart as a jackass cart, extending the last syllable of the animal's name for mischievous effect. When these two strong-willed and stubborn people argued, and they did often, we would observe how each resolved the argument. Daddy had a great wit, and he answered Mum with the most biting, sarcastic language, stealing a glance at us, inviting our disloyal laughter. We giggled. Mum's was a different strategy in resolving arguments. Daddy would raise his voice to reflect how strongly he felt, until he discovered that his verbal crescendo was met by Mum singing of a hymn in resistance to his tirade. His voice went up, hers went up higher, as she moved skillfully from soprano to alto and drowned his protests. She won the battle, and Daddy went silent once again, stealing a glance in our direction, daring us to even raise a giggle. We did not. Did we tell you about Mum's church? That little stone building along the Cayfield Main Road, painted in the characteristic aquamarine and white of the Pilgrim Holiness, then to become the Wesleyan Holiness. With its wooden floor and thick walls, it was her cathedral, her temple, her refuge, her fortress, her New Jerusalem. It was the old rugged cross that she cherished, and she clung steadfastly to its beliefs. On the days after a night of intense Bible study at church, Mum and our neighbor, Miss Drakes, would recite the passages of scripture from memory during the elderly lady's visit to the house. My first contact with John 14 was made as they recited the verses together. "Let not your heart be troubled." Their voices resonated through the house. "Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions." It was a most fascinating engagement to hear them repeating the lines, even as Miss Drakes walked back to her house. As the old lady climbed the slight incline of our hamlet, I could still hear them repeating the verses in unison, although out of each other's hearing. "And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also." They believe every word, and being strong in faith, they will have a great reunion in the mansions of their father's house. As adults, she telephoned us with the admonition, read Psalm 91. I know you're busy, I gone. We know where her maternal instincts of protection were focused. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Through all the changing scenes of our lives, Mom was constant in self-sacrifice for the sake of all of us. And I could not pause in my remembrance unless I spoke of Christmas. It was at Christmas that trials and tribulations postponed and life transfigured into a season of pure and sacred joy. Our happiness became our parents' happiness. When Mom woke on Christmas Eve morning, she did not sleep again until the late afternoon of Christmas Day. Within those 36 hours, she went to town shopping. She made our clothes and the curtains on her sewing machine. She cooked, she baked, and did it all for us at the expense of any individual pleasures that she may have had otherwise. All she wanted was our happiness, the labor, the beauty, the love.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Thank you. And those you can find it on, I didn't even know it was on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube if you want to continue watching it, right? But quite interesting, very interesting. Mr. Let's have our final comments before we go. It's 10:25 and we're closing early tonight. Last night was, oh my God.
11.
Oh my word! And I can't do that tonight. That's why I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Thank you, Angela Knight, for I don't know who sent it to me, but thank you, thank you so much, and for suggesting that we do this as we close. So we are really closing. This is it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Bao.
I just want to thank. Today I nursed some spasms in my back, so I had to rush to get some therapy. And I was fortunate coming out that a parent saw me in pain and said, "Where are you going?" I was going to take the bus. He said, "I'm going to the doctor. Let me take you." I was so glad. It took me. I had to walk up the road and go down the street. Just as I came out from treatment, a member of the lawyer opposition, she's on here tonight, saw me. She went around the roundabout and took me right back to school. And I want to thank her very, very much for doing that. And I'm saying that this program, that as always, for me, I'm being part of your family, the lawyer opposition. I came in at the end, but that has opened some doors, and people just stop and they recognize you, and that is what we know of Barbados. She turned around from where she was going, and she performed a good act. And tonight, I have my mother around. She's not. She's 81 years old, and I know how that poetic tribute by Thorne for his mom meant a lot to me as well. Because those persons who know me well know that I love my mother immensely, and I thank God for having her. And I want to thank Mr. Thorne for giving such a moving tribute to some person who has been so significant in his life. And he has answered the question, do we have other people who can lead this country? Yes. Yes. Yes.
Powerful. Mr. The wisest among us will give us the final comments.
The benediction. You want me? Lord, don't let us depart in peace according to his word.
Yes, amen.
I told Elio, I know I just thought I was thinking that tomorrow's the 3rd, right? So with 8 days to go, it was 7 days to go before election day. I'm hoping to see a further development of discussion on major topics of Barbados that are important to Barbados, not only now, but the future. And therefore, that's why I'm looking forward to the publication of the DLP's manifesto so that people can compare notes and have choices to base on written documents that are supposed to represent the thoughts and views and plans and values of the party that publishes it, and not just depend on snippets of information on what you can hear at a meeting. So you give it considered, calculated, critical analysis and comparison and judgment. I think that will mean a lot to raising the standard of debate and having a more informed public, which in the final analysis is what we want, a more informed public to make a better judgment, not just form for all the tricks of the trade, the blandishments, the music, the dancing that are supposed to confuse you or distract you from what is really most important. And what is most important always is that we want a better life every day, every year, every government, every time for Barbados.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Well said. And I want to thank everybody for joining tonight. We don't take you for granted at all. As Mr. Bob says, you are part of our family. We are part of your family. We see you everywhere we go. You call us, you pray for us, and we really could not get this done without you. Mr. Dr. Ferdinand wants you to know that he's back in the country. He wanted to come on tonight, but he's some of his luggage is misplaced. And they're hoping to get it back to him. Has all of his equipment and all of that to set up. So he was very upset he could not get on tonight. Hopefully he will be on before the week is up. Dr. Ferdinand will be back on with us. So and he sends his love to you all as well. Tomorrow, 5 a.m. is prayer. 5 a.m. prayer. Believe it or not, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, we're on here and we're praying for our beloved country, my adopted country, Barbados. And then there's 24-hour prayer. You can choose an hour to pray right up until the 9th, February the 9th. And we're praying for Barbados. You're not praying for any particular party to win an election, but you're praying for free and fair elections, and that everything will be peaceful and be done properly, and people will not be intimidated as they vote, etc. Okay? All right. So, guys, thank you. And, of course, thank you to Dave for the sacrifice of, being with us tonight and helping us out so well. Thanks to everybody who sent me stuff in my phone to help me, put some good content on the show tonight. Thank you all. Thank you, Miss Rock, and thank you to Jamal Sandiford from St. Michael Northeast. He's a candidate for that constituency. God bless you all. Tomorrow at 5 a.m. Bye-bye.
All right. Good night. Good night. Good night.
The bees rambling, the bees scrambling, cause they know they have not done very well. Yeah, the bees hustling, the bees boasting, but the cost of living got me catching hell. Yeah, they're trying to patch the patches in the roads and delivering plenty lies by the loads. They now promising beach access when all along it was causing us stress. We don't want the bees no more. We don't want the bees no more. This pause and walk back government has to go. Yeah, we saying please no more. God knows we can't take no more. These inefficient imposters have to go. Yeah, the bees running, the bees balling, cause their internal polling was very bleak. The bees hurting, some of them now praying, cause on governance they've been very weak. So we're saying bees no more. We telling the bees no more. We will use our eggs to settle the score. Yeah. Tell the bees to go. We can't take them anymore. Cause for the borrowed billions, there's nothing to show.
Minister, you've called the election, but you still haven't answered our question. What's the latest on the Constitution? About the Transport Board, you ain't said nothing. Why your ministers can't fix the hospital? And when will we get an auditor general? What about the issue at Savion Bay? And will we ever see the Hyatt building bout here? Should we hope to hear about the Hope money, or how much Carafesta cost the treasury? Yeah, yeah. Look, Prime Minister, we know that you know your administration has been extremely poor. They're trying to hold on to your coattail, a coattail that is now very frail. So please go, please go.